Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I, sometimes I have to turn the microphones off, and then we get started in the show and I forget about it. Sounds good now, right? Okay, thank you. Perfect. There you go. I had to turn it on a little bit. All right, so we'll start again. Take 2 and go. There you go. Okay, good. Now you can hear me. Welcome into the high noon edition of Pugs Moran Live. This is the first of 2 streams that I do each and every day. The first one here, high noon, comes to you every Monday through Friday at noon. This is more topic driven. Anything that's trending, anything that's making headlines, the stuff people are talking about, all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, can hear you shouting now. Am I shouting? I'm not shouting, am I? Well, if I'm shouting, then let's check the levels. The levels are all right. Is it coming off like I'm shouting? You people, like no one else, you have the ability to get inside my head and just freak me out. Okay, hold on. We just got the okay. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. In the very beginning, you guys, you gotta be straightforward with me because you will freak me out. Okay, so here we go. This is the first of 2 streams that we do each and every day. High noon, topics, all the things people are talking about. This is to serve as sort of a cheat sheet for you so you know what people are talking about when you go out in the real world and bump into them and they go, hey, did you hear about? You can say, yes, I did, because I listen to High Noon each and every Monday through Friday, noon to whenever. Pillow Talk. That's another. Pillow Pundits. We changed the name. That's right. Radio Misfits podcast platform proudly presents Pugs and Parker's Pillow Pundits. That comes to you 9 p.m. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We take the weekends off. I got a bit of a cold, so I do apologize. And this is not allergies. This is not sinuses. This is a legit cold. Sniffles and all that stuff. So feeling a little bit run down. Feel good though. I mean, you can work through a cold. Colds don't kill you. Well, I guess maybe they do these days. But you know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is I feel fine. I feel fine. Just I'm dealing with a cold. Let's see. What else do I need to tell you here about today's show? Yeah, really, that's about it. Yeah, okay. So as far as like the trending topics go, I so don't care about the Olympics. And there are a lot of Olympic topics that are trending, things that I'm just going to brush over unless something catches my eye and I think that it's uniquely interesting, or, something that is not necessarily how many gold. I didn't do a gold medal count. I didn't even watch the opening ceremonies. Bleh. Actually, I'll be honest with you. I didn't watch any of the Olympics at all. I have caught no Olympics coverage whatsoever. I don't even know what the hell is going on. I couldn't name one American Winter Olympic athlete. Not one. No. Typically you can rattle off like the top figure skater or something. No, I have no idea. There's a hockey team. Actually, I don't even know that for sure. I don't even know that the American hockey team is qualified for that. I have no idea. So you're probably not going to get a whole lot of Olympic coverage. Also this week, we're going to be bombarded by NFL news. It's Super Bowl week. So all of that stuff's going to get cranked out. And there is some small NFL news, but I promise I won't, go too deep into it. I won't bore anybody. This is not a sports show, although we do cover things that are, in the public interest, things that are happening, and the Super Bowl is happening. All right, so let's get started on everything that you need to know about today. Today is February the 7th, the 38th day of the year. 327 days remain until the end of the year. How about a quick moment of joy we'll get into? All right, let's do that. Here we go. This is a nice one. I said I wasn't going to talk about Olympics. I said I wasn't going to talk about, I said I wasn't going to talk about too much NFL. Not going to get into any of the baseball stuff that's going on. But this is nice. Okay, so I don't even know who this guy is. This is like some dude. Some dude who's apparently a very famous soccer player. Okay, football. He plays football over there in England, Premier League. He plays for Manchester United, which, for my understanding, my very rudimentary understanding of the Premier League, they're kind of like the Patriots or the Yankees, of the Premier League. They're like a big high-profile team. So this guy, this is how he's walking in. There's a game, so he's walking into the stadium for the game. He's going through, and he just does something nice. Well, I just let it play for you. It's a nice little moment. He seems like a good guy. There he is. All right, so he's walking through, and you see another teammate just walking through. But this dude gets called over. Looks like the woman who works at the desk at the stadium is calling him over. But in fact, what she's doing is, I mean, she's excited that he's coming over too. But she's got like another person who works at the desk who appears to be in a wheelchair. And as I was reading the thread underneath it, she's like got severe like cerebral palsy or something like that. And she's like a nutty fan of this guy. So watch what this guy does. I love it. I just love it. That's all you need to know. Your moment of joy. Okay, he's got a sign for him. See all the other players just walking by. See, he did initially, if you notice, he like just waved like he was going to like, okay, waving's enough. And then he went, no, you know what? Waving's not enough. It hurts nobody for me to be nice, and I can make these people's day.
I'm crying now. Happy. She looks, yeah.
Sign the kit. Oh, see that lady right there. Look at how excited she is. Look at her. That's making her day. This is, oh my God, she's crying. She's so excited to meet this guy. And he ain't just scribbling his name. He's writing something. Jack Gerlish is his name. Gerlish or something like that. All right, so now he's done signing. He's fulfilled. He's done more than was expected because pro athletes are dicks. And all this guy had to do was he could have even just waved and moved on. Hi, and that would have made this girl's day. Look, now he's leaving. He's leaving. What? He's not. No, he's not. No, he's not. He's going the extra mile. Oh, look at that face. God, tear it up. It's so beautiful. Takes nothing to be a good dude. Takes nothing. Remember that. So there's your moment of joy. I should get his name. I should make sure that I know his name just because I don't know dick about Premier League. Let me see. Let me make sure I get this guy's name right so that we can all have a new favorite. His name is, it's Jack something. Jack Grealish, Grealish. What a dude! My new favorite guy. All right, so Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. I gave you a moment of joy. All right, now let me give you this. Check this out. So you know these truckers? I'm not really following this story, but apparently like truckers have taken over Ottawa, right? You know, they're I don't know what they're. I'm so done with this stuff. We'll get into it in a bit, but I'll get deeper into my thoughts on how I'm just so done with this stuff. This is what's happening in Iowa, Ottawa. It's probably not all that dissimilar to Iowa. Imagine this. So this is where you live. This sucks, man. So you live in a fancy high-rise apartment in downtown Ottawa. Ottawa? Is Ottawa a city? I don't even know. Ottawa. Where is that? Is that like, I'm thinking Ottawa is a city. It might be something else. So you live in like a nice high-rise condominium in swanky downtown Ottawa. And this is what you're dealing with constantly. God, that would suck. You better have good windows. You better be, and most times those kinds of places do have pretty good windows because street level noise is like real irritating. So they're always a little bit, but that is unbelievable. All right, let's get into what today is all about. As we say, it is February the 7th. So that would mean a week from now is Valentine's Day. This will be like the 7th consecutive Valentine's Day when I ain't got to worry about it. It's nice. It's nice being an old man, not having to worry about that stuff. On this day in 1962, the United States bans all Cuban imports and exports. That was the beginning of Cuban cigars are the best. I have a friend who is a cigar expert. He owns a chain of cigar stores, and he does cigar media. Like he had a nationally syndicated cigar radio show. Not here. He lives in Chicago. And he goes off on Cuban cigars. He's like, you tell me you think Cuban cigars are the best. You're a douchebag. You're just an idiot. That's all just branding because you can't. I don't know. I don't smoke cigars. But he says that, like, you can tell if someone is he usually, when he wants to find out if somebody really knows about cigars, he asks them what they think the 3 best are. And if a Cuban cigar makes the 3 best list, then he knows that he's dealing with a novice, with somebody who is just drunk on propaganda. You can't get them, so they're better. I mean, I don't know. I don't smoke cigars, but this guy's very, very ardent in this point. So there you go. Like, I learned this because we went to a wedding with him, and he brought like these cigars, and they weren't Cuban. And everybody's like, "Well, how come you didn't get him Cuban?" And he got real upset. He's like, "I'll tell you why they're not Cuban. Here's why. You want Cuban shit? I'll give you Cuban shit. I got Cuban shit. I keep them for the dummies who are willing to pay this much." He goes, "These are the best cigars on the market." I don't even know what they were because I don't smoke cigars. But all of that started on this day in 1962. The United States banned all Cuban imports. I mean, is there anything else that they have in Cuba that we want? I don't know. On this day in 1990, the dissolution of the Soviet Union. The Central Committee of the Soviet Communist Party agrees to give up its monopoly on power. That was on this day. Excuse me. Here you go. On this day, 9 years ago. On this day, 9 years ago, the U.S. state of Mississippi finally outlawed slavery. 9 years ago. There is no race problem in this country. 9 years ago. It was 9 years ago today that Mississippi finally certified the 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, making slavery illegal. 2013, and Mississippi wonders why everybody's like, yeah, they're by far the worst state in the country. That state is messed up. Hold on, I'm getting a bunch of who's Mr. Popular. All right, never mind. Sorry, just doesn't have anything to do with the show. Let's see. That's it. 1962, the Cubans. 1990, the Soviet Union fell apart. And in 2013, Mississippi finally went, okay, fine. You people want it. Slavery's illegal in this state. Fine. So, like, in 2012, you could have a slave, and the state would be like, it's not illegal. I mean, I don't know. I don't think that was... I mean, they still are a part of the union, I imagine. I don't think anybody still... Okay, move on. Birthdays. Let's celebrate some birthdays. We got a run of birthdays today. And by the way, did you notice not a whole lot happened on this day? No plane crashes to speak of. No train derailments. No boat accident. No cruise ships sinking. Nothing. 62, 90, and 2013. Those are only... And those weren't even great ones. Those weren't even great things to mention. I just had to have something that happened on this day. Today is a lame day. Not for birthdays, though. Good birthdays. Born on this day in 1960, Robert Smeigle, American actor, producer, and screenwriter. Robert Smeigle is hysterical. Robert Smeigle is probably best known as the creator and the voice of the character Triumph the Insult comic dog. Triumph the dog, very funny bit. But Smeigle has done crap tons of stuff, man. Another one of my favorite things that he ever did was he was a writer on Saturday Night Live for a lot of years. And he created the ambiguously gay duo. He's just a funny guy. Robert Smeigle is also the creator of the Superfans, which is, something that if you're from Chicago, you hear all the time. The Bears, that whole thing. Robert Smeigle, and he sometimes appears as one of the Superfans. Happy birthday, Robert Smeigle. Also born on this day, the exact same age as Robert Smeigle, James Spader, one of the smarmiest 80s teen actors of all time. But I like Spader now. What did the Black Book, Blacklist, Black something he did? That was a good show. I watched a couple episodes of those and I went, this is a good show. And then I remembered that it was on network TV and I went, I ain't got time for this nonsense. Speaking of 80s smarm, I watched last night. I watched The Lost Boy. Watched a bunch of movies with my kid over the weekend. We watched What About Bob, which we had to have a huge fight. It always happens. Big fights. I don't want to watch that. I'm like, well, that's what you're watching. This is what I'm watching. If you want to watch what I'm watching, it gets into that whole thing. And of course, I'm always right because I'm not going to force feed him crap. I force feed him stuff that I know he's going to like. But, by my 12-year-old son's standard, any film made before 2015 is an old film and he doesn't have time for it. 2015! 2050. That means if a movie was made in 2014, I don't like old-timey movies. 2014 is an old-timey movie to you. He loved What About Bob? He loved it. And last night, he said, I want to watch a scary movie. Because we had a big fight about The Exorcist. Oh, here's another. Oh, boy, you'll love this. So on Saturday night, he's like, I want to watch a scary movie. And it can be an older one, too. And I'm like, okay, well, you got any ideas? And he goes, I want to watch The Exorcist. And I'm like, dude, we just watched The Exorcist. We watched The Exorcist like 6 months ago. I'm like, we just watched The Exorcist. There are so many other good, scary movies that we could watch. I don't want to watch you never want to watch what I want to watch. And it turned into one of these things. I'm like, oh, God, and then, as with every argument I have with my 12-year-old, it bogs down in the most ridiculous side path argument. Like the argument over whether or not we were going to watch The Exorcist was settled because I was not going to watch it. So then he needed the argument to keep going. So he wanted to keep fighting. So then it became whether or not, and this went on for a good 45 minutes, whether or not something that we just watched 6 months ago constitutes something we just watched. Wait, 6 months is a long time. We didn't just watch it. I'm like, oh, God, when you're my age, 6 months is a blink of an eye. Well, 6 months is just like yesterday. No, or 6 months is not just, I said it was just like yesterday. Oh, God, and we went round and round and round. Ugh. And then I tried to get him to watch Oh God. Remember Oh God? I was just flipping through things and I'm like looking for something that we could watch, something nice, happy medium. And I go, hey, okay, I got a funny movie we'll watch. He's like, what? You can tell from the tone, it's like, this is not going to go well. And I go, all right, it's called Oh God. And he goes, what? He goes, now you're making me watch religious stuff. I'm like, it's not religious. I thought we were godless. And I'm like, we're not godless. We're seekers. I'm a seeker. I don't know what you are. You got to figure that out on your own. And by the way, we're agnostic. And he goes, godless, agnostic, pick a lane, dude. And he walks out of the room. I laughed. I was like, pick a lane. I go, I'm not forcing anything on you. I go, don't call me godless. Your dad is not godless. There's a difference between somebody who acknowledges the presence of something in the world, but isn't quite sure what it is, and someone who doesn't believe in anything. Pick a lane, dude. That was my weekend. But speaking of James Spader, we ended up watching The Lost Boys. which he totally loved. He totally loved. Okay, because we have these big fights, and then he goes into his corner and he calms down, and then he feels bad because this is the best part about him. At least he knows when he's being an a-hole, and he comes in and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." He's like, we compromised. We ended up watching The Lost Boys. He loved it. He loved What About Bob? He loved The Lost Boys. He would have loved Oh God, except I wasn't going to go back to that. He'd already called me godless, and I'm like, it's a comedy. It's not a religious film. Okay. So happy birthday, James Spader. That's why I thought of Lost Boys, because that was an 80s movie that didn't have James Spader, but every other movie in the 80s did. Happy birthday, born on this day in 1962, American singer, songwriter, guitarist, icon, legend, huge star, Garth Brooks. There was a time in this country when Garth Brooks was like the Michael Jackson of people who rode horses. He was massive, and he kind of like, I don't know if he's still big. Remember when he did that like dual personality thing, when he didn't realize that like Carrie Underwood's and Taylor Swift's were going to show how easy it was to cross over into popular music? So he just adopted a whole new character called Chris Gaines, and he put out an album of pop music under Chris Gaines, and people were like, "This is stupid. This is dumb. Garth, why don't you just make a pop album? You don't have to change your whole name." Happy birthday, Garth Brooks, born on this day in 1962. Also born on this day in 1962, another music guy, David Bryan. You know who he is? He plays keyboards in Bon Jovi. They can't all be winners. 1962, Eddie Izzard is also born. Eddie Izzard, English comedian, actor, producer. And like the first I don't know what Eddie Izzard is. We're in this whole like, what is gender? Oh God, and I had another conversation with my 12-year-old about gender. I don't want to go into it though. It's personal. He's a boy. He knows he's a boy. That's not about his gender. Just about, how that subject is being broached in school. And an incident that he may or may not have had with another student who believes that there are 50 genders. Anyway, 50. This person said there's 50. And I'm like, did you get a list? Did they write down all 50 genders? Because, I'm all for gender fluidity and being open-minded and accepting people and all that. But 50? Really? That's what I said. 50? How do you get 50? I'm like, I don't know. And not everything my son says to me is yelling. Yes, it is, because you drive me nuts. I mean, that's basically. Eddie Izzard, he's I think like there's like a transsexual and a transvestite are different, right? A transvestite is just someone who knows they're a man, but they like to wear women's clothes. I think that's what Eddie Izzard is. I don't know. Either way, happy birthday, Eddie Izzard. Born on this day in 1965, one of the greatest comedians in the history of America, in the history of the world, probably. Chris Rock. Happy birthday, Chris Rock. Born on this day in 1974. Happy birthday. I did not know he was South American. I knew he was Canadian, but I didn't know he was born in South America. Steve Nash, former Dallas Maverick, two-time NBA consecutively, I think, when he was with Phoenix. I think he won it 2 years in a row. I know he won two. Two-time NBA MVP Steve Nash. He won those when they were just not giving LeBron trophies, right? They were like, we can't give it to LeBron all the time. So Steve Nash had like a great season and they gave it to him. And they're like, hey, he had a great season. Let's give it to him. We can give it to him. I mean, we should give it to LeBron because LeBron always has great seasons. But let's just give it to Steve Nash because we can't give it to LeBron every year. And then the next year, Steve Nash had an even better year. They're like, well, I guess we got to give it to him twice now. So Steve Nash, I'm not saying it's not deserved. I'm saying he's a two-time NBA MVP. That's all I'm saying. Steve Nash, born on this day in 1974, born in South Africa, raised in Canada, made all his money in America. Born on this day in 1978, Ashton Kutcher, American model, actor, producer, and entrepreneur. Man, we're going to have to start making the phrase, he's got Ashton Kutcher money, a thing. Because Ashton Kutcher, he was like one of the first people to invest in Uber. And, oh God, he's just so stupid rich. He also, I give him credit for like popularizing the whole prank phenomena, which is now everywhere. Remember he had a prank show like 20 years ago on MTV, And now everybody on YouTube with 50 billion hits is doing pranks, and now there's all these prank shows all over the place. Yeah. I mean, he didn't invent the prank, but he he gave it its second wind 20 years ago. He's ground zero for the pranking. Happy birthday, Ashton Kutcher. You know, another interesting thing about Ashton Kutcher is, so Ashton Kutcher is a twin. He's got a twin brother, Michael. And Michael has had all kinds of problems in life. I mean, it's a sad story. He's got cerebral palsy. He had multiple heart surgeries as a child. He had issues. I watched this thing that Ashton Kutcher did about his brother, and they just have I mean, he just loves his brother, his twin brother. And I just the whole time I'm watching it, I'm thinking, my goodness, I could just imagine you're a twin. You the exact same DNA, is it the exact whatever, same egg split twice, whatever. So you're like a twin of Ashton Kutcher, and you have all of these problems. It's like you got two, they're twins. One has cerebral palsy, one has all of these heart problems, and the other one is Ashton Kutcher. It's like, oh my God. And I wonder, and look, Ashton Kutcher loves his brother. That's what this whole thing was about. It was actually quite beautiful. But man, do you think there's like, I guess it would be this. Do you think that there's any resentment on the part of Michael that he has been given all of these incredible challenges in life? And then do you think that there's any guilt on the part of Ashton Kutcher that his twin brother has all of these challenges in life and he's Ashton Kutcher? I mean, he's good looking, he's charming, he seems to be very smart. All of these, that's the world is a strange place. There you go. Happy birthday, Cooch. Oh, hey, happy birthday, Cooch, and happy birthday, Michael. There you go. Jeff says Eddie Izzard is trans, uses the pronoun she, her. Are you sure about that? All right. You know what? I don't know. We're going to look this up really quick. We're going to Google that Eddie Izzard. Because I seem to remember years, but this was years ago before like the whole trans thing was. Let's see here. Eddie Izzard is an English stand-up comedian, actor, writer, and activist. Okay, yeah, look at that. Her comedic style takes the form of rambling, whimsical monologues and self-referential pantomime. Her stand-up comedy. There you go. Eddie Izzard is fully trans. Although back in the day, I remember he was a transvestite. But I guess that was before we had this whole awareness. Maybe he wasn't maybe he didn't know. Who knows? I don't know. That's all whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do. Eddie Izzard had a TV show on FX with the lovely Minnie Driver, who I once watched a basketball game with. Tell that story again, why don't you? You've only got 5 and you tell them like 50 times a week. I will not indulge you. He had a show, it was him and Minnie Driver, called The Riches on FX. It was a good show. It was a really good show. And nobody watched it, so it went away. There you go. Hey, okay, just to make it even more jacked up. Okay, Jeff, hold on. Let's break this down. So Eddie Izzard is trans. He is a woman. He is referred to she. They prefer to be referred to as a her. Okay, right? So Eddie Izzard, her, she. That's how. Those are all the pronouns that were used in the Wikipedia bio. Her, she. Now you're saying is also heterosexual. Heterosexual to what? Heterosexual to the male whose genitalia he was born with? Or heterosexual to her, she, who... Do you see how messed up this is? Because if Eddie Izzard, born with male genitalia, is now walking around as a her, identifying as a her, then if you're saying she's heterosexual, Heterosexual to what? Does she like boys or girls? God. Do you see? Because if you're going to say, well, Eddie Izzard isn't gay, he's just trans and identifies as a woman. Okay, well then if he's identifying as a woman who isn't gay, then he likes men, which would mean he is homosexual to... Ah! I don't know. What's he like? What do they like? Do they like guys or girls or both or Zeds? Whatever's available. I don't care. You know, here's how I care. I care because I don't want to be confused. I don't need to. Actually, I don't need to. I haven't thought about Eddie Izzard in years. It's just his birthday. It's just her birthday. It's just their birthday. I want thems to have a nice birthday. Moving on. Nobody of consequence really died on this day either. So, you usually do like, who died on this day? Dean Smith. Dean Smith, legendary basketball player Dean Smith died on this day. All right, let's see what today is the national day of. Today is the national day of... It's National Fettuccine Alfredo Day. Man, I love fettuccine Alfredo, but guess what? It ain't on my diet. It ain't on anyone's diet, dude. There's no such thing as diet fettuccine Alfredo. No, there's not. There's really not. It's not. There's no such thing as diet good fettuccine Alfredo. Fettuccine Alfredo, you get a bowl of it and it's supposed to have like 5,000 calories. Fettuccine. So, if you're not like me, if you've taken better care of yourself over the years and you don't find yourself trying to desperately get back in shape, enjoy some fettuccine Alfredo today. It's National Periodic Table Day. Stupid nerds. Let's see. It's also National Send a Card to a Friend Day. Send a card to a friend day. Where would you get stamps? Is that still a thing? Of course stamps are a thing. Oh, yeah? Then where do you get them? I don't know. All right, let's get into what's trending. Here are the things that people are talking about. These are the headlines. These are today's hot topics. As I said, it is Super Bowl week, so we are going to jump in a little bit to some things, not necessarily X's and O's, but there are always, this is it. This is every Super Bowl week, somebody gets arrested. And we started off early, hours, it looks like, after the Pro Bowl. Alvin Kamara of the New Orleans Saints has been arrested. He beat somebody up in a club. I don't know. There are very few details about it. New Orleans Saints running back Alvin Kamara was arrested by the Las Vegas Police Department on charges of battery resulting in bodily harm on Sunday after the Pro Bowl. The Las Vegas Police Department arrested him immediately after the Pro Bowl on Sunday evening. Okay, so this happened Saturday night before the Pro Bowl, beat somebody up in a club, and then played the Pro Bowl, and then got arrested after the Pro Bowl. According to the LVPD's official press release, officers were dispatched to a nearby hospital at 5:50 p.m. Pacific time Saturday afternoon. This is like an afternoon fight. This is not like a late night fight, while you're waiting for the valet to bring your car around. That's where a lot of the fights start. This was an afternoon fight. So 5:50 in the afternoon, 5:50 in the evening on Saturday. The victim reported being attacked at a Las Vegas nightclub by the Saints running back. After the officer's investigation, the victim later identified the perpetrator as Alvin Kamara. He was taken into custody by Clark County for battery. The investigation is still ongoing. Kamara is reportedly being held on $5,000 bail. Gee, I wonder if he'll have that scratch. I wonder if he'll be able to put that together. $5,000 bail. His first scheduled court appearance will be on Monday today at 1:30 p.m. Pacific time. So what's that, 3:30? 3:30 today? No details. We don't know why. We don't know what happened. That's all, unless something is broken in the last 20 minutes or so. That's why Alvin Kamara is trending. Russell Brand is trending. Russell Brand is trending. Why? Because here, we'll show you. Russell Brand is a shit stirrer. I find him very entertaining. I think Russell Brand is funny. I think that he's He's a lunatic. He really is. He is. Russell Brand talks openly about all of his issues. Like he's a crazy person, and he admits he's a crazy person. He's not right. He's been institutionalized. He's also a drug addict. He's been homeless, and he's lived on the streets of London, and I believe it was heroin. So he's a heroin junkie. So, Russell Brand is an incredibly entertaining person, as crazy people tend to be. Crazy people, when they funnel it in the right direction, can be incredibly entertaining. That's why so many big celebrities are, whack jobs, because they're crazy. But here, this is why Russell Brand is trending. We'll pull this up. CNN, they've been having a go. CNN's been falling apart. Last week, they lost their fearless leader, Jeff Zucker, who got caught up in the whole Chris Cuomo investigation, and they found out that he was doing bad stuff too. And so the leader is gone, and CNN has been fractured in two. CNN, half the people are like loyal to Zucker, and they're like, this isn't fair. And then there's like another half of the people who are still loyal to Chris Cuomo, and they're like, Zucker should have never fired Cuomo. This serves him right. That whole thing. So CNN is at each other's throats. Brian Stelter, who is the media correspondent for CNN, is sort of taking the lead as far as reporting on the station, at the station. And boy, Brian Stelter is insufferable. Just am not a fan of Brian Stelter. He is so condescending. You're talking about what news people get paid. That's basically your beat. Your beat is, and he's just, I don't know. I'm not a big Brian Stelter fan, but Russell Brand is trending because he made fun of Brian Stelter. Here you go.
Which sounds great, but not all opinions are created equal.
Now listen here, Sonny Jim. You're not only making people not trust you, you're making them not trust me.
Who just wing it, who make it up as they go along. And because figures like Rogan are trusted by people that don't trust real newsrooms.
Well, why don't people trust me? They trust Rogan, but I'm perfectly trustworthy. Look how loose my tie knot is. Joe Rogan's irresponsible. He took horse maggot medicine the other day. Now tell me, sir, and don't tell me anything other than this. Should there be a war? Yes, there should be a war. Interview's done. I'd like to see you do that, Joe Rogan.
Which
All right, so there you go. He's Russell Brand is going viral. There's more to it. You can find it out there somewhere, but that's the whole reason that Russell Brand is trending. Also, I find it very interesting. Russell Brand is being because Russell Brand happens to be on the side. Oh, well, everybody got to take a side. Russell Brand is on the side of leave Joe Rogan alone. He's an entertainer. Now, Russell Brand, like me, is also a podcaster, a streamer, someone who gets a little bit nervous when the authorities start cracking down on what people can say. I know I don't like it, and that's the entire reason why I'm on the side that is supporting Joe Rogan. I don't watch Joe Rogan. I used to know Joe back in the day. He was a comedian. He used to do everybody's radio show. He'd come in all the time, and he seemed like an all right guy. And I love MMA, and I still think that he's like the best MMA broadcaster that there is. As far as his podcast goes, I've said this a million times. I feel about the Joe Rogan podcast the way I feel about the Grateful Dead. I don't mind the Grateful Dead. It's just the Grateful Dead fans who I can't stomach. So, I don't really listen to Joe Rogan anymore. Joe Rogan is an entertainer. He's not an authority on anything. He's an authority on MMA, and that's when I like to watch him, and that's when I like to hear his breakdown and his critical thought process and all that other stuff. Is Joe Rogan being irresponsible by giving platforms to people who are I think are idiots? Maybe. I don't know. I don't really care. What I do care about is people telling people that they can't say what they want to say. If Joe Rogan is saying something that you don't want to hear, don't listen to Joe Rogan. It's that simple. The idea that just because we don't agree with something, that we can stop them from saying something that we disagree with is a problem for me. And that's it. That's as far as I want to go as far as the ins and outs of that. Have I heard the stuff that Joe Rogan has said regarding coronavirus? Yes, I have. Do I agree with it? No, but it's Joe Rogan. It's like, no. What does that matter? I also don't agree with what the crazy neighbor thinks. I don't think Joe Rogan is crazy. I think that Joe Rogan is an entertainer. And maybe that's where the problem comes in, where people don't really get what his game is. I get what his game is. He identified an audience. He drilled darn hard on that audience, and now he's making $100 million for it. Showbiz. Is it irresponsible? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Was Howard Stern irresponsible for 30 years? Maybe. Were Kelly and I irresponsible for a whole lot of years? Yeah, probably. I feel like we were in some aspects. But that's entertainment. I don't know that you necessarily have to bear the burden of carrying society on your back when you're just trying to entertain people. It's up to the listener. It's up to the consumer to be able to use their mind to determine whether or not this wacky morning DJ is the authority on this subject, or is it just somebody who's making me laugh while I'm stuck in traffic? That's all. Let's not get into this. I don't want to get into the YouTube chat stopped popping up on stream. Well, why did that happen? April? I don't like that. All right. And there's more on Joe Rogan. We'll get into more because, oh God, he is the most talked about person in the world, and he's trending for a whole bunch of different reasons, like this one. Joe Rogan 100 is trending right now. This just popped up in the last hour. Why Joe Rogan 100? Because Rumble. I don't know what Rumble is. But Rumble CEO offers Joe Rogan $100 million for his show. If Joe wants to walk away from Spotify today, say, you know what, this is causing way too much trouble. You're forcing me to pull down shows. I'm taking all of this heat, and let's just call it a day. And he can jump on over to Rumble right now and make the exact same deal that Spotify gave him. Rumble has offered podcast host Joe Rogan $100 million on Monday to leave Spotify as the comedian faces heat from critics over alleged spreading of misinformation and recently surfaced comments. And that's why I made it a point in the last segment to say his coronavirus stuff, because he's trending again for other things and other comments and all that stuff. Okay, so we'll get into that. I'll try and be as mainstream, middle of the road as I can on that. In a letter addressed to Rogan, Rumble CEO Chris Pavlovski said the company stands with Rogan. We stand with you, your guests, and your legion of fans in desire for real conversation, the letter reads. So we'd like to offer you 100 million reasons to make the world a better place. Actually, here, I'll just read you the exact note because it's not too long. Dear Joe, we stand with you, your guests, and your legion of fans, but mostly the legion of fans. Let's be honest. That's mostly why you're sending this note. We stand with you, your guests, and your legion of fans in desire for real conversation. So we'd like to offer you 100 million reasons to make the world a better place. How about you bring all of your shows to Rumble, both old and new, with no censorship, for $100 million over 4 years? This is our chance to save the world. And yes, this is totally legit. Sincerely, Chris Pavlovski, CEO, Rumble. So there you have it. So, if he ends up walking away from Spotify, and I would have thought, no way in hell. But, there's a lot of stuff going on in the last 72 hours. It's making me think that at some point, Spotify is probably just going to go, okay, fine. And we'll get into what some of those things are. But I don't want to do a whole 40 minutes of just the Joe Rogan topics. But there's more, and there's more down here today on my list, and we'll get to them. Pearl Jam and Motley Crue are trending. This is a fun one. I like this one. This has been a debate all weekend long, and it's nice to see that it is still going strong on Monday morning. Apparently, Eddie Vedder gave an interview in which he talked about music before Pearl Jam. And he also said something that I've been saying for years, which I appreciate, someone of the stature of an Eddie Vedder acknowledging what I've known all along and what I've been saying. And that is that Guns N' Roses is the linchpin between the style of music that was popular, the Poisons, the Warrants, the Motley Crues, all of that stuff, and the Seattle sound, which is Pearl Jam and Nirvana and, Alice in Chains, those kinds of groups, Soundgarden. Eddie Vedder said that it was truly the only good Sunset Strip band was Guns N' Roses, and that they were the bridge. It's the exact same verbiage that I always use too. They're the bridge. Guns N' Roses is the bridge between those two very different genres of rock and roll. But he also went further. He called, he basically said the Motley Crue was trash. He was like, before we came along, I was playing in bands and I used to work at stadiums and I used to be a roadie for hire. This is something he used to do. He'd show up when a band would come into town and they'd need people to lug equipment and tune stuff. And then Eddie Vedder was one of the local guys that would work backstage and he would work for him. And he said that he worked for Motley Crue once and he hated it. And then he went on to say some stuff about Motley Crue. Not terrible stuff. He even said, I'm probably going to get in trouble for this, but I don't really like them. They're not really. What did he say? I was like, it's the dog days of winter as the cold weather and gray skies have gone on long enough as we yearn for warmer and brighter days while we still have to wait out for it. Two unlikely rock stars are doing everything in their power to spice things up. The best part? No one saw this coming. It all began with an interview that Eddie Vedder did with the New York Times. The Pearl Jam frontman was asked if he thought anything from the explosion of Gen X alternative culture extended to today, and decided to regale readers with a tale about the time he worked at a San Diego club, loading gear into the venue. Eddie Vedder says, I'd end up being at shows that I wouldn't have chosen to go to, bands that monopolized the late 80s MTV, Vedder said. The metal bands that, and I'm trying to be nice here, I despised. Girls, 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 and Motley Crue, F you. I hated it. I hated how it made the fellas look. I hated how it made the women look. It all just felt so vacuous. Okay, so Eddie takes a shot at Motley Crue. And then Motley Crue has to respond. So Nikki Sixx, who's very funny, by the way. I mean, I may not be the world's biggest Motley Crue fan, although I think I've said recently, I discovered Motley Crue like 10 years ago because I was always like, I didn't like that kind of music when I was younger. I was closed-minded and, they, to me, represented a type of dude that I didn't want to hang out with. And, so I was just like, that's so stupid. Although Kickstart My Heart has always been a jam. I've always admitted that. That song is a jam. Skydive naked from an airplane. I love that song. But then, years ago, as I got older, I started, actually listening to some Motley Crue, and I'm like, this is not as terrible as I thought. This stuff's all right. This is okay. It's all right. It's okay. And Nikki Sixx, I like Nikki Sixx. He seems interesting. Crew bassist Nikki Sixx caught wind of Vedder's comments and took to Twitter to respond. Here's what he said. Nikki Sixx sends out, made me laugh today reading how much the singer in Pearl Jam hated Motley Crue. Now, considering that they're one of the most boring bands in history, it's kind of a compliment, isn't it? Sixx responded to the comments that several fans made on Twitter and offered up some pretty simple reasoning for why he was jumping into the action. You're not allowed to diss my band in our 40-year history and not get a little smack back, Nikki Sixx wrote. More focused he said, it's all good though. I'm more focused on us playing stadiums right now. Moving on. Whatever side of the Eddie Vedder Nikki Sixx aisle you fall on, Audacity has a station dedicated to your fandom, blah, blah, blah. And it's an ad for Audacity and their music stations. Decidedly. And I said, I enjoy Motley Crue, but yes, I would absolutely say that Pearl Jam is a better band than Motley Crue. But who am I? I'm just one guy, and I'm telling you what I like. It doesn't mean that, your band sucks. Let's knife fight. I mean, there's no way to prove it. It's subjective. It's whatever you like. I like them both, but I guess I would say that I don't even have to think about it that much. I'm on Team Eddie Vedder. I'm on Team Pearl Jam, and I don't even like. Pearl Jam isn't even my favorite band of the Seattle bands. They're not. They're Nirvana is by far, but I also like Pearl Jam. Pearl Jam is the Rolling Stones to Nirvana's the Beatles, as or your grandparents may recall the divide between Rolling Stones fans and Beatles fans in the 60s. So there you have it. That's funny. That's a funny one for me. I think that's funny. All right, sticking with the early 90s theme, because, oh boy, is this stuff happening. Pulp Fiction is trending. The film, the Quentin Tarantino, 1990, 1992 maybe? So I'm not entirely sure. Pulp Fiction is trending because there's a big debate going on about whether or not. Now, Pulp Fiction is, I think, inarguably, I don't know. Again, it's subjective. What are you talking? You just said music was subjective. Film has got to be the same way. True. Film has got to be the same way. Pulp Fiction is great. Pulp Fiction is a great movie. I can't. I always talk about how I'm, trying to cultural education of my son. I'm trying to get him exposed to certain things that I think will make him more well-rounded as an adult, as he ingests all of the garbage of his generation that he'll ingest. I try to give him a nice base of things that time has proven out to be truly worthy cultural hallmarks of the world, and Pulp Fiction is one of them. Can't wait to show him Pulp Fiction. Can't wait to show him Pulp Fiction. Can't wait to show him The Godfather. Can't wait to show him Goodfellas. You already showed him Goodfellas. You couldn't wait on that one. I know. I showed him Goodfellas like 2 years ago. He didn't like it. What? You're telling me a 10-year-old didn't appreciate Goodfellas? Well, a lot of it was lost on him. He didn't really comprehend what was going on, the multi-layers of angst and anxiety that was. But Pulp Fiction is one. Pulp Fiction, Godfather, and Springsteen. So I'm waiting to truly get him into Springsteen and Bowie. But Springsteen and Bowie are like the two that I have to wait till he's a little bit older. But the question surrounding Pulp Fiction and why it's trending is, could they make it today? Could Pulp Fiction be made today? Well, yeah, they can. I mean, I'm on the side of, yeah, of course they could make Pulp Fiction today. But they say the N-word. Yeah. Yeah, it would be controversial, but they could make it. But would it be released? Now that's a better question. Like, would it be released as the follow-up? Quentin Tarantino could make a movie because he's Quentin Tarantino, and they can pretty much have any dialogue they want because he's widely seen as an auteur, as one of the greats, as one of the tremendous creators of film as art of the last 30 years. So today he could make anything, but could a second time director, and I think he had only made Reservoir Dogs before Pulp Fiction, could a director out on his second film release something with that many N-words in it? I don't know. I'd like to think, yeah, but I don't know. So that's the debate. That's why Pulp Fiction is going on. Does it? Look, I'm a white guy. I don't like to delve into these things. Honestly, and by the way, the N-word conversation is coming because, as I said, Joe Rogan is trending for multiple things. So without completely giving away all my thoughts on the N-word conversation that is coming, it's not all that complicated to me. It's how come they can say it and we can't? Okay, first of all, stop with the them and us. Stop with the they can, we can't. How about this? How about we just don't? Let's remove the word can't. Let's stop it like it's in order. I will not do what you say. Since you say I can't say it, I'm gonna. I don't. Do you want to say it? Why do you want to say it? Why do we need to? Why is that something? Shouldn't there be? Whoa, what? White guilt? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, a little bit of white guilt. I'm a white guy. I feel terrible about the way that this, not this country, the world has treated the African people. Let's just put it that way. As they've left Africa and come into our, slavery is a bad thing. I feel bad for it. You know what else? I'm not German, but I feel bad about the Holocaust too. I feel bad about that. So if there was a word that we couldn't say that had to do with the Holocaust, I'd be fine not saying it. There's no reason to. But how come they can say it and we can? Again, stop with the them and us. Just don't worry about it. Don't worry. Move on. Why do you care? Because I don't like being told that I can't say something that. Really? You don't like? You're told shit all the time. You are told. We follow instructions all the time. Yeah. You think I want to stop at every stop sign I see? No. But I'm told to stop, so I stop. So I do it. This does not need to be. What are you, an infant? This does not have to be something that occupies. Just don't say it. I don't want to say it. Why do you want to say it? I hate that argument. They can say it, but we can't. It's just a word. It's silly not to be able to say a word. Is it silly? I don't know. bad word. It's not a word. It's a word that's been used pejoratively to hurt people. I have no interest in saying it. Oh, what? You're a big liberal now? I just said that, I don't have a problem with Joe Rogan staying, and now all of a sudden see, because I'm in the middle. I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm not crazy on the right. I'm not crazy on the left. I am where the rest of us are. I am somewhere in the middle. And I'm comfortable in the middle saying, I don't need to say that word. You can take that word out of my vocabulary. Like if I was incapable of forming that word, it'd be fine. Like if you put a chip in your head, you'll never be able to put those letters together and sound it out. Okay. All right. What time is my operation? That's fine. I'll get that chip put in. Not a big deal. But they can and we can. Stop it with the them and us. Okay? Stop it. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. What else is trending? Pearl Jam is trending because a lot of N-words in Pearl Jam. A lot of them. But don't most of them come from Samuel L. Jackson, which does that? See, they can say it, but I don't know. I don't know. I guess it depends on. All right. Pulp Fiction. Lids. Lids. Lids is trending. This is interesting. I love this. This comes out every year. Lids. As a bald man, let me tell you, I love Lids. Every shopping mall that I find myself in, and I don't find myself in many shopping malls anymore, but if they have a Lids, you're at the shopping mall, you're with a girl. She's like, I want to go look at Bath and Body Works. I'm like, all right, fine. I'll be over here. I'm going to go get a smoothie from the food court. And then I'll be over at Lids looking at hats. Lids is the store that just has all the hats, like all the cool baseball hats and football hats and all the cool team apparel and all that. All right, when you're done with Yankee Candle Shop or whatever the hell it is that you're doing, I'll be over in Lids drinking my smoothie, my strawberry smoothie. Lids puts out every year a list of the top-selling NFL player jerseys and the top-selling NFL jerseys. It's very interesting. For instance, is it? I want to say it's our Cowboys. 1, 2. Oh no, here, I'm on the wrong one. These are players. Okay, so teams. So here are the teams that have the most jersey sales. The teams with the most jersey sales in America are number 1, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that's got to be just because of the last couple of years, because of Tom Brady and all that good stuff. Idaho, see, that's when when you're as popular, when you're that far away from a place and your jersey is number 1. And Idaho doesn't have a team, so why not? The top teams as far as popularity are the Buccaneers, the Cowboys, obviously Cowboys. Cowboys are the number 1 selling jersey in Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico. I don't know. That's like either Montana or it's just the states, the shape of the state. Montana and looks like Mississippi. Okay, so there you go. That's good. The Buccaneers are number 1. Cowboys are number 2. Broncos and Bears are tied at number 3. And then the Seahawks. Seahawks are popular. I think that's a color thing, right? Because the Seahawks kind of have like a cool color. I mean, I can't imagine why the Seahawks are that popular. But you can throw out like a random state. Like, Seahawks and Chiefs are tied. But the Chiefs are like the number 1 jersey purchased in like all the states where like nobody lives. Like it looks like the Chiefs are number 1 in Kansas, Missouri. What is this? What Nebraska? What is it? They're like right in the middle of the country. It's like all Chiefs stuff. Let's see what else we got. Cowboys are as far as North and South Carolina. Look at that. Patriots have a couple. Bears have 4. Cowboys have 5. Seahawks have 4. All right, so that's it. So those are the most popular jerseys that are sold. Now let's go to the most popular players sold, okay? Dak Prescott here in North Texas. Dak Prescott is the number 1 sold jersey in Texas, New Mexico, and South Carolina. I'm sorry, scratch that. Dak Prescott is the number one jersey sold in Texas and South Carolina. Ezekiel Elliott is number one in New Mexico. That is followed by Tom Brady. Or actually, Tom Brady's number one. Shouldn't say that's followed by Tom Brady. Tom Brady is all over this damn map. So it's Tom Brady, Idaho, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nevada, Florida, Georgia, looks like New England, looks like Delaware, looks like, I don't know, somewhere up there by me. Is that New Hampshire, Wisconsin, Indiana, Pennsylvania. Tom Brady is by far the most popular jersey. And then who's second? Who would be second? Dak Prescott has 3. So I'm guessing Dak Prescott is 3. He is popular in Texas, Mississippi, and South Carolina. Lamar Jackson also has, that's 2. 2 for Lamar Jackson. Justin Fields, Jufu, is tied with Lamar Jackson at 2. He has Illinois and Wisconsin, which has really got to hurt the Wisconsin Green Bay Army, that the number one jersey sold in Wisconsin is Justin Fields. Hey, man, don't discount southern Wisconsin, where all the population is, right there in the far extreme Chicago northern suburbs that just happen to be located in Wisconsin. Kyle Pitts, interestingly enough, is selling a whole lot of jerseys. Kyler Murray has 2. Kyler Pitts has 2. Justin Fields has 2. Patrick Mahomes has 3. There you go. So that's why Lids is selling. You can look it up on your own. Lids, cool store in the mall. Always at Lids. You buy 1 hat, get 1 free. Okay. So you walk out with 2 hats. I love Lids. Lids is trending today, and that is why. Usain Bolt is trending. Usain Bolt, Olympic sprinter, fastest man in the world. I'll show you why he's trending. This is kind of funny. Usain Bolt is trending because Tyreek Hill was on TV over the weekend calling out. Oh, here, I'm going to do it like this. Calling out Usain Bolt. Tyreek Hill wants to race Usain Bolt. He's like, come on, we'll do it on pay-per-view. And Usain Bolt, he retired. He hasn't, I guess he hasn't sprinted competitively in 5 years, which I didn't realize. I just assumed that Usain Bolt was still the guy, still doing it. So he calls him out on TV. Let's see if we can get this to show you. Tyreek Hill calls out Usain Bolt on TV, does his best wrestling thing. And, okay, I don't know if you can see the tweet that Usain Bolt sent out in response. You mean this guy? And then it shows Tyreek Hill getting blown out by, let's see, who are the other guys? I mean, it doesn't really matter. Other than Micah Parsons, it doesn't matter. At the NFL All-Pro weekend, they have the skills competition, and Micah Parsons won as the fastest man in the NFL, which isn't true, but if this is how we're going to gauge it, yeah, okay, he beat the other guys and the fastest man in the NFL. And Tyreek Hill, who had always worn that as I am the fastest man in the NFL, looking at me, he's in 4th place. Now, it didn't look like Tyreek Hill was really trying all that hard or whatever. But that's the burden that Usain Bolt put out. Tyreek Hill, I'm the fastest man in the NFL. I challenge you, Usain Bolt, blah, blah, blah. And Usain Bolt tweets, you mean this guy? And then shows him in 4th place. Which is funny. All right, very good. Tyreek Hill, you don't want to race Usain Bolt. Stop it. Stop being stupid. There was a huge difference between world-class sprint record holders and a guy who's really fast on a football field. Stop it. Willie Golt, who was the 5th man on the 1984 U.S. men's Olympic relay team. He was behind Carl Lewis and all these other people. He was the 5th guy, fast. He enters the NFL, and he's the fastest man in NFL history. And it's you weren't even the fastest guy in your Olympic team. You were good. You're fast. Don't get me wrong. Willie Gault was fast, but come on, stop it. Tyreek Hill, you don't want none of Usain Bolt's smoke. And obviously he thinks you're a bit of a clown. All right, let's see. What else is trending today? Okay, this one, a little something for us here. Yeah, I'll get rid of that. A little something here in North Texas. Mark Cuban is trending. Mark Cuban is trending because he lost his mom over the weekend. Very, very sad. Well, I mean, sad, yeah, but we're all going to go through it. That's just how the world works. Shirley Cuban, mother of Mavericks owner Mark Cuban, has died. Shirley Cuban, the mother of Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban, has died. Her son, Brian Cuban, said she was 84 years old. Mrs. Cuban died Friday in the suburban Pittsburgh home where she and her husband, Norton, raised sons Mark, Brian, and Jeff. Brian Cuban said his mother died after a long battle with lung cancer. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Your son is Mark Cuban, a billionaire, and you never want to move from the house where you raised him. That's kind of nice. I totally get that. I mean, when you get to be a certain age and you live in a certain place, and I haven't even mentioned the whole thing about sentimentality and the memories that are contained within these walls. That whole thing. That's fine. So, maybe the desire to have the 10,000 square foot mansion that your son is willing to buy for you, it doesn't really do anything for you. You're like, I'm comfortable here. I'm an old person and I like this house. This is where I live. You just take fantastic vacations and drive cool cars. And, you have really nice fur coats and stuff, I guess. Here's something that I didn't realize, though. I did not know this. And this is not a judgment. Sounds like you're about to make a judgment. Not a judgment. I'm just curious. I'm curious about people. And I am always curious about people's ethnicities and about people's backgrounds and all that stuff. Sounds like you're making judgments. How is just admitting that I'm curious about people's, upbringing and their ethnicities and their religious proclivities and all those things. That's not a judgment. It's just I find it interesting. Sounds judgy. It's not. I did not know that Mark Cuban was Jewish. I did not know it. See? Why does it make a difference? It doesn't make, it's just a curiosity. It's just interesting. It's just, Cuban, the name Cuban doesn't, and also his name is Mark, and Mark is a Jewish name. It is a popular Jewish name. However, there is a Jewish spelling of Mark. Oh, no, they can't spell right? No. I'm not saying Jews can't spell right. I'm saying that Jewish people typically spell the name Mark with a C. It's M-A-R-C. That's the traditional way that a Jewish Mark would spell his name. And Mark Cuban is M-A-R-K. That's the Christian way. Shirley Cuban was born Shirley Rita Feldman in 1937, the daughter of Jewish immigrants to the United States. Her family lived in the predominantly Jewish Pittsburgh neighborhood of Squirrel Hill. Shirley Cuban graduated from Carlow College, today known as Carlow University in Pittsburgh, and worked as a massage therapist and at an addiction rehabilitation center. She and Norton Cuban moved to Dallas in the early 2000s after Mark Cuban bought the Mavericks. Her husband died in 2018, and Shirley returned to the Pittsburgh area, living in suburban Mount Lebanon. She was an avid Mavs fan, Brian said. Funeral services will be private. So there you go. Best thoughts to Mark Cuban. He's not listening. That was just like you trying to be morally proper. No, just putting nice energy out there, man. Leave me alone. Leslie Jones is trending. Leslie Jones. All right. Here's the thing about Leslie Jones. I tell you all the time, I don't get Pete Davidson. I don't see it with Pete Davidson. Leslie Jones is the same one. I do not see the thing there with Leslie. I don't get it. Oh, she's so funny. Is she? Really? I mean, doesn't she kind of just have one speed? Isn't she just kind of always that same Leslie Jones character, which is fine. That's fine. But don't be telling me that she's like in league with, other greats from Saturday Night Live's past. She's not Eddie Murphy. She's not Bill Murray. She's Leslie Jones, and I don't particularly get it. And so, what are you, a racist against black women? No, because anyone who knows me knows that I think God, I always get the name wrong. Ego Wonum is like one of my favorite people, one of my favorite all-time females on Saturday Night Live, and she is coming into her own in the last couple of seasons. She's tremendous. We got nothing to say about that? Just wait for you to put your foot in your mouth. Ego Wodum, I love her. Why do you feel like you got to say that? Well, because you called me a racist because I said that I didn't like Leslie Jones, I didn't get her. And I didn't even say I don't like Leslie Jones. She seems nice. I just don't, when people are like, she's the funniest in the history of Saturday. What? Really? She's the, what? Stop it. Well, why is Leslie Jones trending? Leslie Jones says she may no longer live recap Olympics. I won't stay anywhere I'm not welcome. Well, what was the head movement thing there? That what were you doing there? I kind of, that's how I'll admit, caught. I don't know why I did that. The former Saturday Night Live star has been recapping and live tweeting during the last few summer and winter Olympic Games. So, this is something I'm familiar with because I follow Leslie Jones on Twitter. I thought you said you didn't like her. I didn't say I didn't like her. I said that I don't get when people talk about her being so great on Saturday Night Live. I don't think she was great on Saturday Night Live. She's funny on Twitter. She's good on Twitter. Basically, her whole bit on Twitter, and she does this for the Olympics, is that she takes videos of her watching TV and her commentary on what's happening on TV. Simple, funny. Those are funny. That's I like those. But she gets, man, I don't know what people. Why do people beat the crap out of her on Twitter? They've been doing this for years. There are people who are so mean to her. It's like, why are you being mean? You just said she wasn't funny. I never said she wasn't funny. I said she wasn't one of the greats in Saturday Night Live history. I felt that she was kind of one-dimensional in all the things that I saw her do on Saturday Night Live. I never said I didn't like her. She's funny, but, she's just one kind of funny. Whereas, a Christian Wig, oh, she just happens to be what color? This is not about color. I was talking about Ego Wodum. She does all kinds of characters. She does all kinds of different. I'm not talking to my split personality anymore. I'm not. He's just trying to get me in trouble. So people are being mean to her. Like, they're just like being like, you suck. You're not funny. Gee, I wonder where they get that from. I'm not talking to him. And so she does it. She's like going to take her ball and go home. She says, I know another celebrity bitching, Jones wrote, but I'm tired of fighting the folks who don't want me to do this Olympic coverage. They block my videos and they get folks who think they can do it like me. And I'm tired of fighting with them. Jones didn't specify who she was referencing when she said people didn't want her to film the videos, though she had tagged Olympic broadcaster NBC in an earlier post. Where is it? I just lost it because a pop-up popped up, and now my whole page is like all the way down at the bottom. Jones didn't specify who she was referencing when she said people didn't want her to film her videos, though she had tagged Olympic broadcaster NBC in an earlier post. She also noted, I love the athletes and they love me doing it. And I know you all love it. But now it's gotten too hard. And stop that, pop-ups. But now it's gotten too hard and no one is fighting for or with me. So I guess I'll leave it to the professionals. But thank you for all the love. Yeah, it's a bit, come on, Leslie. You got to be. Although she does have a point. People are really, like, when you read her threads, people are awful to her. And I'm like, you don't need to be awful to her. What the hell? Why? In the caption of her post, the star wrote, Leslie Jones does not stay anywhere. I'm not welcome. The former Saturday Night Live star has been recapping and live tweeting during the last few summer and winter Olympic Games. Starting last Thursday, Jones, who has more than 1 million followers on TikTok, has posted dozens of videos commenting on everything from the figure skating competitions to the skiing events. Just hours before her post about pushback to her videos, Jones was watching and commenting on the team figure skating event live from her home. I do this because I really enjoy watching the Olympics, she said in one clip with Team USA's Karen Chen, when Team USA's Karen Chen was skating. I really love you guys' reactions. This is like everybody coming together, no matter what's going on. When I'm doing this, my spirit is totally in it. I do this with real passion. In the comments section, oh man, here we go. This is in the comments section of that post. This is good. Holly Robinson Pete wrote to Jones, yeah, your commentary is great, and you should be doing this on the Peacock just like Snoop and Kev. Kevin Hart and Snoop Dogg have an Olympic highlight show on NBC's Peacock. Responding to Pete, Leslie Jones wrote, you think Kevin and Snoop give an F about athletes in the Olympics? Honestly, I think this should be my last one. It's really frustrating. NBC Sports didn't immediately respond. So, I don't know. Is this like you don't love me enough or what? Whatever. I keep doing it, Leslie. Honestly, I don't know what else you do. I don't really see you anywhere except on Twitter these days. So, let's see here. What else is trending? Coffee table book. This isn't trending. This is just a story that was on the top. There is oh my God, folks, ideas. Oh, I get these ideas every once in a while. This is not one I had. But this is one that I wish I had. So, and it came from Trump himself. Trump created a coffee table book that is just all of his batshit crazy tweets, like all of his crazy tweets, all binded nicely in a coffee table book. And he's $35 or something. It was this coffee, which is, I don't know if that's expensive or not. It's, $35 is expensive to me these days, but whatever. But it's a coffee table book, and you could now that's something that would be fun. You put that on your coffee table, somebody's waiting for you, and you just thumb through it and you start reading some of these crazy old tweets. It was just released in late November for Christmas. They've already made $20 million off this coffee table book. What a great idea. So that's why Trump coffee table book is trending. Black History Month is trending. Let's see. Why is that trending here? Oh, geez, the dog is barking. I'm going to have to go out there and get her. Okay, so this is like a real... What kids of all ages should be reading for Black History Month? I don't want to go into that. I don't want to go... Because this whole thing is about, well, the schools are making them, and I don't. Jeez, yeah. Why do they get a month? Oh, shut up with that argument. If you don't understand why we take 1 month to go, hey, this is what we're going to be learning about, then you're not I hate it. I had a funny conversation with my kid today, or not today, over the weekend. We were at the racetrack, Speedway, whatever you got here. One in the Midwest, they're called Speedways. Down here, they're racetracks, right? Yeah. So we were at the racetrack, which is a gas station. And a girl, a very, let's just say that she was wearing a dress that made her body a bangin', as the kids might say. And this dog is killing me. Here I am going to get into a cute little story. I got to let the dog in. I apologize, folks. Sit tight, and then I'll tell you about this story with my kid that is loosely related to Black History Month. Sort of. Get in here! Get in here right now! Get in here. Lay down. You numbskull. No. Just go lay down. I don't have time for you. Jerk. Nobody wants to hear you barking. Go lay down. Good girl. All right, so this girl wearing a very tight dress on Saturday night was walking out of the Speedway. So me and my 12-year-old son may or may not have taken an extra lap around just to see what was happening. Creeper perv. or just a couple of heterosexual single guys, although he's not single, which is the point of this. And she came walking out, and I described her to my son as a beautiful, fiery Latino woman. And my son turns to me and he goes, which is, it's, for obvious reasons, this is weird. He goes, yeah, I'm not really into Latino women. To which I responded, your girlfriend is Latino. She goes, oh yeah, that's right. So my boy's got a little girlfriend there in school, and she's a Latino girl, as is, every other girl here in Texas. I mean, we are in Texas after all. And she's a beautiful young girl. He's like, yeah, I'm not really into Latino women. Your girlfriend is Latino. What the hell's wrong with you? What do you mean? So I say to him jokingly, as I've discussed many times over the years, I said, well, son, there are 4 kinds of girls that I feel are the scariest of all. He goes, what do you mean scary? I go, you got to treat them with a little extra respect, because you don't want to go toe to toe with, that's what I mean by scary. They're scary. They can be mean to you. They can take you apart. Yeah, who? And I go, okay, are you ready for the 4? And I gave him the 4 that I always give him. I say Latino girls. You don't want to shit on a Latino girl. She will kick your ass. I said Latino girls, Irish girls, Russian girls, and black girls. Those are the 4 kinds of girls who will not take your shit. Do not cross them. It's fine to love them. It's fine to be in a relationship with them, but you do not want to screw them over, because they will come for you. They do not take. Ooh. Now who's stereotyped? Whatever. I'm just telling you what my life experience has been. And then he looks at me and he goes, yeah, that's going to be a problem. And I go, why? And he goes, because I'm really into black girls. And I go, oh, really? I go, you're really into black girls? I go, that's great, man. He goes, yeah. He goes, I don't know. I just have this thing for Rihanna. And I just think, and he started naming like these other girls that I don't know, like these famous girls. And I know that he loves Zendaya. Like he thinks Zendaya is, but I don't think Zendaya is black. Anyway, neither here nor there. And I go, well, man, look, let me tell you something. That is great, because we need to jumble up our gene pool. You're Irish, you're half Irish, because if you marry like an Irish girl, it's just, our kids are just going to be, at some point, our kids are going to have the complexion of Scotch tape. I mean, at some point, they're just going to be translucent. We need something to, make us a little bit more interesting, a little bit more exotic. So I am all for that. I go, you go for it, son. You find yourself a nice black girl. And he goes, yeah. He goes, and it's Black History Month. And I go, yeah. So what does that have to do with it? He goes, nothing. Just thought I'd mention it. So there you go. That's black. I could have talked about these controversial books that I don't want to get into. Instead, I was able to tell a little story about how my son is attracted to black girls, and how I'm all for it, because I think that we could use a little mix. I think that we could use a little bit of jazziness in our genetic makeup. I mean, look at me. This is what we're down to. He's handsome because his mom happens to be very pretty. So, he dodged a bullet. But, this is not working. This cannot go on for another couple of generations. We need a little something. We need a little something to supercharge the gene pool. Let's see here. Black History Month. Peloton is trending. Peloton is trending because apparently there's some interest in purchasing it. Peloton, their stocks have, their stocks are going up today on news of a possible takeover. And but they've been dropping, because when the pandemic first hit, everybody went out and bought Peloton. We're going to get healthy and all that kind of stuff. And they kind of reached peak users, and then it's just been dropping. But today it's shooting back up, because word is that Amazon, Nike, and Apple could all 3 be interested in acquiring Peloton and turning it into their own thing. So when 3 big uns like that get involved, it's going to drive the stock price up. Lovie Smith is trending. Here's a little football news this week before the Super Bowl. Lovie Smith. I love Lovie Smith. I love Fort Worth's own, don't you know? Fort Worth's own. Lovie Smith is trending because as of 5 minutes before noon, not named yet, but it looks like the Texans are moving. This is from Ian Rappaport, NFL's Ian Rappaport. The Texans are moving towards naming Lovie Smith their head coach for the 2022 season. Sources tell Tom Pelissero and Mike Garofalo and me. No deal is done, but it looks to be headed that way. Well, let me just pop in really quick and see if Lovie Smith, if there's anything new on Lovie. Any big announcement? Let's see here. Lovie Smith. Did I tell you I love Lovie? I love Lovie. Okay, that's the same one from 3 hours ago. 11 seconds ago, breaking after receiving his official interview on Monday morning, Texans associate head coach and defensive coordinator Lovie Smith is expected to be, okay, still no official word. Now, here's why it's interesting. Lovie Smith is trending because he came out of nowhere. I mean, not really nowhere, because he was their defensive coordinator and their assistant head coach down there. But last night, the whole football world was going nuts, because it was reported that the Houston Texans had come down to two candidates for their head coaching position. And it was Brian Flores, who was recently let go by the Miami Dolphins, who is suing the NFL. And there's all kinds of strings attached with Brian Flores at this point. So the two that the Houston Texans, as of last night, were stuck between were Brian Flores, who says that he's accusing the NFL of not hiring black coaches and skipping over black coaches, and saying that there's racist hiring practices and all this kind of stuff. And he's just coming off 2 winning seasons with the Miami Dolphins. He is a head coach. He's got 20 years experience coaching in the NFL, successful as a head coach, was fired by the Dolphins. Head scratcher. Everybody was like, wait a second, why are the Dolphins firing Brian Flores? He seems like a really good coach. He seems like a guy who turned that dumpster fire into something that could be a competitive team here in a year. So he was fired, everyone's scratching their head. And so it's come down to him, a black head coach with 2 successful seasons and 20 years of head coaching experience in the NFL, and Josh McCown, who coached his son's high school team last year. So people were going nuts. They're like, what? Wait a second. This lawsuit is just writing itself. Are you telling me that you are stuck between a guy who just put together 2 winning seasons for an NFL franchise, a guy who is universally considered a damn good head coach, who is available and looking for a job? You're telling me that you're stuck between that guy and a dude who has never coached before, except last year he coached his son's high school team. That's So that was crazy. That was just like crazy. Don't tell me that the white guy who has never coached before, but coached high school football last year, is actually being considered equally with a dude who's got 20 years coaching experience in the NFL and coming off 2 winning seasons as the head coach of an NFL team. And you're going to try and look us all straight in the face and say that there's not something squirrely going on here with the NFL? So that went nuts last night on Twitter. That blew. It's almost like the Texans put that out there to see, let's see if anybody has a bad reaction to this, which is so dumb. And they did, of course. It was nuts. And then this morning, actually it was late last night, it started never mind. Lovie Smith's in the mix. We're just thinking about making Lovie Smith. Lovie Smith, I love. Did I mention that I love Lovie Smith? Lovie Smith was head coach of the Chicago Bears for a long time. Ferocious defenses. The players loved him. Took us to a Super Bowl. And then the year after the Super Bowl, he went 10-6 and got fired. You're fired. 10-6, not good enough. See you, Lovie. 10-6, you're gone. Which is, interesting, because we just went through 3 years of garbage seasons where Matt Nagy was given another chance, and he'll get it together. Just give him one more year. Meanwhile, the dude who took the team to the Super Bowl and then went 10-6 gets fired. I don't know. Look, I have very complicated opinions on this whole thing. the thing that I keep going back to about this Brian Flores lawsuit and the Rooney Rule is that when the Rooney Rule was brought into effect in the year 2003, there were only 3 black NFL coaches. And, they were like, look, this is embarrassing. We've only got 3 black NFL coaches for a league that is 70% African-American players, and we've only got 3. We need to have this new rule so that we don't only have 3 anymore. And the rule has been in effect for 20 years, and 20 years after the rule was put into effect, now we have 1. We have 1. It has actually worked in reverse. So very complicated, very, you know what? I don't know that it is all that complicated, to be honest with you. It's just, so good for you, Lovie Smith. I hope Lovie Smith takes over that dumpster fire, which is the Houston Texans, which is crazy because they looked like they had such a good team. And then their star quarterback got all rapey. And then they started, Bill O'Brien traded away. I don't have to rehash the history, the recent history of the Houston Texans, but man, they were good. They were good. And then they weren't. Oh, Netflix. This is trending. Tinder swindler. You guys, I want to do a show. I'm thinking tonight's Pillow Pundits with Pugs and Parker. We might talk about the Tinder swindler. I don't know if you've seen this yet. The Tinder Swindler is a new documentary film that is on Netflix. I want to say it posted last week, like Wednesday or something. I watched it over the weekend. Oh, it's so good. And it is hysterical. It is so funny. I don't think it's not supposed to be funny. It's just, I found it so funny. It's just, if you watch it and you don't find it funny, okay, that's fine. You'll probably find it interesting. I found it funny. I think it's just, so here's the deal with Tinder Swindler and why it's so the Tinder Swindler is a documentary about this guy who would go on Tinder and he would get all of these girls, these dates with all these girls, and he was a con man. He had all of these girls believing that he was like an international diamond mine owner, and he had like fake news stories online that he created so that when a girl would Google his name, all of this stuff would come up and it looked legit. But it was like he was running a Ponzi scheme. Like he would have one girl in London who he would be in this relationship with. I don't know where there had to have been a big chunk of money in the beginning that he used to get the first one. But so like the first date would always be like this amazing first date. Like you'd get on his private jet and you'd fly to another country and you'd stay in like a 4 seasons hotel somewhere. And then some business would come up and he'd have to, send you away and he'd fly you back home and then he'd go off. But then he'd just go to another country where there was another woman where he would fly her somewhere. And it was a Ponzi scheme in that at some point he would have these relationships with these girls. And after like 2 dates, he's like, I love you. I want to marry you. And of course they're like, oh, I'm so into him because he's rich. That's why you're going to marry a guy after 2 Tinder dates because you Googled him and you saw a story about how he's worth $3 billion or something, and he flies you on a plane. Basically, he just totally conned all of these girls. And he was using like the money that he would get from one girl to pay for the next girl. Oh God, he had such game. Yeah. And why is that funny? It's funny because these women, they're like, yeah, I was victimized. He told me that he was having business problems and that they had frozen his accounts because of the blood diamonds. And I needed to take out a loan and send him $25,000. And they're doing it. And they're doing it because they believe he's a billionaire and they want to be the wife of a billionaire. So they're sending, it's crazy. Tinder Swindler is trending because it's very popular on Netflix. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm glad I don't have girls. That's all. That's all I'm going to say. I'm glad I don't have girls. They didn't get hurt. They got financially hurt. They're all like bankrupt. Like all of these like blonde club girls. They're just like, I'm an independent woman. I don't need a man for anyone. Yet you only date billionaires. It's easy to say that you're an independent woman when you only date billionaires. I Google everybody. I do background checks, and I make sure that anybody that I meet on Tinder that I've checked out. Yeah, until a story pops up in your Googling that says they're a billionaire, then you're all in. And you're just like, all right, I'm done. I'm not going to go any further. He's a billionaire. I'm going to get on a plane with him. I know we just met for coffee 10 minutes ago, but I'm going to get on a plane with him, and we're going to go to Germany, and we're going to stay at the Four Seasons Berlin. Money, man. Money is an intoxicant. People do really dumb things with money. And this guy is such a scumbag. It's like he's so obviously a scumbag. But these girls, because he had money and flew them on a private jet, they were like totally overlooking the fact that he's an obvious scumbag, an obvious douche, like just a complete, what are you going to do? It's good though. Watch it. Watch it. The Tinder Swindler. I don't want to spoil it for you. It's like I want to talk about the ending. I don't want to spoil it for you. But the guy's an obvious scumbag. How do you not have the? How are you not looking at the situation and going, wait a second, he's worth $2 billion and he's asking me to take out a new credit card and send him all the money on the credit card? Okay, I'll do it. And you do it because you think there's a payoff for you. And then when there isn't, and you've been duped, you're a victim. You're not a victim. You're just a bit of a gold digger is what you are. That's why, okay, I said it. You said it. I did. I said it. I did. I just want a nice guy. I just want a nice guy who's fun, who's also a billionaire. Well, yeah, of course. Well, those don't exist, sweetie. There are no nice. You cannot accumulate billions of dollars being a nice guy. Those two things do not go together. All right. What else do we have here? Oh, this is interesting. Oh, no, we'll do this one first. Masks and scroll. I don't want to do that. I don't want to talk about that. The Razzies. Okay, so the Razzies have been announced. You know what the Razzies are? Those are the awards for like the worst movies of the year. I'm always interested in this. Let me get you. We'll get to all the things that are. All right. No. So, okay. So the lead on this article is Jared Leto. Jared Leto has been nominated for a Razzie for his role as one of the Gucci's in House of Gucci. And I don't know if you guys have seen House of Gucci yet. I watched it at the end of last week. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. It's not like it got terrible reviews or anything. And as a matter of fact, it's up for a lot of big awards like Best Picture, SAG Awards, and people are saying it's going to get an Oscar nomination for Best Picture. It's a good movie. It's good. I thought it was interesting. I thought Lady Gaga was great. I thought Adam Driver was great. I thought Al Pacino was great. But Jared Leto plays one of the Gucci's. He plays like the idiot Gucci nephew or whatever. And he's unrecognizable. You would like he's wearing like all of this putty on his face and he's bald. He's balding, he plays it so over the top with this hysterically bad Italian accent. I mean, it's like a pizza accent. It's not even. It's like Jared Leto, who I think is a pretty good actor. He's just so. Here's the thing. I shouldn't say that he's terrible in it, because I couldn't take my eyes off this character. This character was so weird that Jared Leto played in House of Gucci that I was like, I don't know if this is like one of the greatest performances I've ever seen or one of the most absurd performances I've ever seen. Well, the Raspberries are saying that it's one of the most absurd performances ever. Also, worst picture for the Raspberries. Diana the Musical. I don't know what that is. Infinite. I don't know what that is. Karen. I don't know what that is. Space Jam, A New Legacy. I know what that is. They're saying it was terrible. And The Woman in the Window. So those are the nominations for this year's worst film of the year. Worst actor, Scott Eastwood for a movie called Dangerous. I don't know what that is. Roe Hartrumpf as Prince Charles in Diana the Musical. Okay, I don't even know what Diana the Musical is. LeBron James for Space Jam, A New Legacy. Ben Platt for a movie called Dear Evan Hansen. Mark Wahlberg for the movie Infinite. Worst actress, Amy Adams, The Woman in the Window. Jenna DeWall for Diana the Musical. Megan Fox, Midnight in the Switchgrass. I don't know what that is. I've never heard any of these movies. Taryn Manning for Karen and Ruby Rose for Vanquish. Worst supporting actress, Amy Adams for Dear Evan. Amy Adams, a dual nominee for worst performance this year for the movie Dear Evan Hansen. Sophie Cookson for Infinite. Aaron Davey for Diana the Musical. Judy Kay for Diana the Musical. Taryn Manning. Oh, Taryn Manning for 2? Taryn Manning for Every Last One of Us. Yeah, Taryn Manning is nominated for both Worst Actress for Karen and Worst Supporting Actress for Every Last One of them. Here we go. Worst Supporting Actor. Ben Affleck, The Last Duel. Now that I saw. Yeah, the movie sucked. That was, is it Ridley Scott? No, Ridley Scott is House of Gucci. Or is he also The Last Duel? I don't know. Whatever. Ben Affleck is just ridiculous. The Last Duel is so boring. Nick Cannon for The Misfits. Mel Gibson for Dangerous. Gareth Keegan for Diana the Musical. Boy, they hated Diana the Musical. And Jared Leto for House of Gucci. I would say House of Gucci is good. I enjoyed it. I was interested. I didn't know the story. I didn't know that, they were that jacked up of a family. I found it very interesting. And Lady Gaga is so good. Does she have a real name? Like, is she just going to be Lady Gaga all the time? Or does she at some point, shouldn't she just go with a real name? Because honestly, she's probably got a movie career now, right? I mean, she was really good in A Star Is Born. She was really good in House of Gucci. She could be a real leading act. She was good. She's good at dramatic stuff too. Not like stupid, Drew Barrymore, Jennifer Aniston type roles. She's like real dramatic acting kind of roles. This is interesting. So one of the categories for this year's Raspberries, the Golden Razzies, one of the categories this year, it's a new category, and it's called Worst Performance by Bruce Willis in a 2021 movie. There's like 10 choices. Apparently, Bruce Willis is just cranking out the trash. He's just making bad movie after bad movie. Bruce Willis for American Siege. Bruce Willis for Apex. Bruce Willis for Cosmic Sin. Bruce Willis for Deadlock. Bruce Willis for Fortress. Bruce Willis for Midnight in the Switchgrass. Bruce Willis for Out of Death. And Bruce Willis for Surviving the Game. There you go. Those are your raspberries. We shall find out. I'm glad to see that House of Gucci wasn't in like the worst movie, because it's not a bad movie. It's actually I kind of enjoyed it. Let's see what else is happening here. You guys, this is trending. I don't know how the hell this is trending. Well, how's this trend? Funny Girl. Guys, they brought Funny Girl back to Broadway. And Beanie Feldstein is playing whatever. Funny, that's Jonah Hill's sister. She's really good, actually. She's good in a lot of stuff. She's back. Funny Girl is back on Broadway. How is this trending? I don't understand. I've never understood. Nobody goes to Broadway outside of people who live in Connecticut, New York, and New Jersey. Maybe rich people from other places, when they go to New York, they'll take in a Broadway play. But the vast majority of us will never go to Broadway. We're not going to. Why do we care? Why are the Tony Awards on television? These aren't like movies that are in every mall and every neighborhood in America. This isn't like music that we can listen to. This isn't TV that comes into our house. This is shit that nobody ever sees. And it's only a bunch of elitist snobs going, oh, you simply must see this new Broadway play. Yeah, I'll never see that. I won't. There's no chance in hell. Will it come to my town? Yes, but you'll get like a third-rate traveling company of actors. And fine, I guess that's it. I guess that's the only way. I don't understand how Broadway and Broadway plays are. It's one person who has seen it, who is telling a nation of 400 million people who will never see it that you really should see this. So Funny Girl is trending. I'm not even going to click the star. I don't care. I don't care why it's trending. Other than I like Beanie Feldstein, who once again is Jonah Hill's sister. I like her. She's good. The Who is trending. The Who is trending. Why is The Who trending? Because for the first time since 1979, The Who have announced a concert tour, and they are stopping in Cincinnati. Cincinnati, of course, was the site of the Who concert disaster back in 1979. They haven't been back. They've toured the country numerous times. They've come as close as Northern Kentucky, University of Kentucky in Lexington. They've played there, but for reasons that they don't really go into in this article, they've just never gone to Cincinnati. They're not going back, but they are. Tickets go on sale on Friday. The Who is returning to Cincinnati, the site of the Who concert disaster where 11 young people and young adults were killed back in 1979. And so there you go. That's something. How old is The Who now? The Who's got to be, and isn't Pete Townsend sketch? Didn't Pete Townsend get in some trouble for some stuff he had on his computer? I'm just saying. I do like The Who, though. Separate the art from the artist. I guess so. Let's see what else is happening. Sydney Sweeney is trending. Sydney Sweeney. Well, she's trending with Euphoria. The Euphoria is a big hot show on HBO, which I don't watch because I'm a middle-aged man and I understand it's about a bunch of girls in high school. That's not really. I think my son is into it because, like I said, stars Zendaya, and my son really likes Zendaya. But I do know. Here's what I'll tell you about Sydney Sweeney. I don't know anything about Sydney Sweeney from Euphoria. Although I read so much about Euphoria, it's like, and I watch a lot of TV. I sample everything. It's like, should I check this out? People are like, it's a great show. No, it's really a good show. I'm like, yeah, but I'm like, I'm a middle-aged man. Is this gonna be for me? Or is it just gonna be like me watching my friend's daughters? And that's not comfortable. I don't want to do that because I hear it's like real dirty. It's like real sexy and dirty and drugs, and just shows how like high school girls are just like crazy. However, Sydney Sweeney, I am, and I make there's no problem with Sydney. Sydney Sweeney's like 25 years old. She's a woman. I don't care if she's playing a 17-year-old. She is a grown-ass woman who I love. I love Sydney Sweeney. She is, first of all, yes, she is beautiful, but that's beside the point. She is a cool actress. She was in, where did I first notice her? Handmaid's Tale. She was in season 2. She played the wife. She was like, I don't want to explain Handmaid's Tale. You either know the Handmaid's Tale or you don't. It's very complicated. But she was in that. And then she was in that other HBO series, Sharp Objects. That's what it's called. She was good in that. So it's like I've seen her in these things. And I'm like, oh, that is an interesting young actress. I kind of like her whole vibe. I like her energy. And then she was in that movie, the White Lotus, the tremendous HBO series from last year with Connie Britton and Steve Zahn. She played their teenage daughter who was like a troublemaker. She was a druggie, whatever. She's great. So I don't know why Sydney Sweeney is trending, but she's cool. I like her. I like her a lot. Yeah. Oh, she's trending because she doesn't like the stigma of actresses who doesn't do nude scenes. She do nude scenes? I don't think I've ever. I guess this is about you. I guess she does nude scenes in Euphoria. Oh, there you go. All right. She's cool though. There's like, she's got this like snotty kind of like, she has this attitude of like every scary ass mean girl from high school that I really like. I'm like, ooh, yeah, she's got edge. There's an ice cream recall, but it only concerns people who buy ice cream in Massachusetts. So let's not worry about it. And also it concerns people who buy green tea ice cream. And you know what? If you're going out for ice cream and you're buying green tea ice cream, whatever, man, have at it. You probably deserve whatever's coming your way. Listeria is the problem. There's an ice cream recall for green tea ice cream in Massachusetts. Okay. Luge Girls. Luge Girls is trending. This is I found this story interesting. This is such a sweet story about young love. So there's a couple of like Olympic lugers, couple of gals, and one here. I'll figure out what this is. One competes for Belgium, and the other competes for Brazil. A couple of loser girls, and they're in a lesbian relationship. Yeah, it's like the first time that two people who are in a long-term committed relationship are representing two different countries, and they find themselves in like the finals battling against each other. Just in time for Valentine's Day, skeleton slide. Okay, so not losers, but why is luge trending? Just in time for Valentine's Day, skeleton sliders Kim Meulemans of Belgium and Nicole Silveira of Brazil will compete in the women's event on Thursday, February 10th. Usually, you'd expect to find a longtime rival at a World Cup race, not a long-term partner. Meulemans and Silveria on the Skeleton Tour met on the Skeleton Tour a few years ago, but it took them a while to go public with their relationship. Blah blah blah. Okay, whatever. Good for them. Good for them. I hope that the best gal wins. Bill. Is it Bill Simmons or Bill Simons? I don't know. It looks like it should be Simons, but maybe it's Simmons. You know, the writer producer. He does a lot of like really cool like sports documentaries. He is trending because he has it on good authority that the New Jersey Nets are reportedly open to a Ben Simmons for James Harden trade, but only if the 76ers also include Seth Curry. So the deal would be Seth Curry and Ben Simmons for James the Beard Harden, which I believe, and I'm not really keeping track, but what is this? James Harden's 15th team in 3 years. So, you know, that tells you something about what kind of teammate he is. James Harden, Oklahoma City to Houston. Okay, so maybe it's only 4. Did he go anywhere after Houston, or was it straight to the Nets? Whatever. Okay, so like what, 4 teams in 5 years? That's I'm not as big. Look, I'm an NBA fan. I'm not a big I'm not in the tank for James Harden. I think that fine. You do you, James. You know what you can do? You can be one of the best players in the league on shitty teams, because it really doesn't seem like you know how to play with a team. It doesn't seem like you know how to play with a unit. So you and your beard, you just be whatever you can be, my friend. I want players who can play together. That deal, is that a good deal? I don't know. Again, he's going to have a problem with Embiid. I mean, there's no way James Harden's going to get along famously with Joel Embiid. So whatever. So there you go. So the Nets are saying, we'll give you James Harden, Philly, but you got to give us both Ben Simmons and Seth Curry. Spotify is trending. Joe Rogan is trending. The Rock is trending, and Andrew Yang is trending, all for the same exact thing. I'm so tired of the Joe Rogan stuff. But over the weekend, we are now moving into phase 3 and phase 4 of the let's all try and take down Joe Rogan. And this stuff is a little more troubling. This is, for me, it was like, I don't know if I like that. Two new things are being thrown at Spotify to have to deal with. Of course, Spotify has been fighting off all the people who are upset with Joe Rogan and the way he's handled conversations surrounding COVID, the vaccine, masks, misinformation, and he's getting a lot of stuff wrong, and he's putting it out there, and whatever. He's an entertainer. Again, he's not Dr. Joe Rogan. I'm sorry, but Joe Rogan says, "Oh, you have no idea how dumb you sound saying shit like that." I heard Joe Rogan say. Joe Rogan used to make people drink their own piss on TV. He's the Fear Factor guy. Stop it. Don't give me this. He's entertaining. I'm glad you're entertained by it, but all right. So the Spotify CEO is responding now to new charges against Joe Rogan. Now he's a racist. And man, I'll tell you, I don't know if Joe Rogan's a racist. I don't think he is. But easy for me. I'm a white guy in my 50s. I don't think I'm a racist. Not at all. But what is a racist now? I mean, there's a real troubling video. Somebody went and edited together every time that Joe Rogan has said the N-word. And he says it. He brazenly says it. It's over and over. N-word, 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 N-word. Oh, that guy. And then he says to me, look at you, you're an N-word, N-word, N-word. It's him over and over again saying the N-word. Now, and this is a very important distinction that has to be made. Context is certainly important. And when you edit something like that together, there is no context around why he was saying it. He was using it in the context the way most people would have said the N-word. Like I won't say the word, I'll say the N-word, right? But Joe Rogan has always maintained that it's infantile and silly for grown people trying to have a serious conversation to have to self-edit themselves like that. So he doesn't say the N-word. He says the full word. He says the full word. But it's never like, so I said to this N-word, get off my property. I mean, it's never like that. It's more conversational. It's about, the use of the word and how people use it, which is troubling, man. That's a minefield. You don't, like I said earlier, I don't need to say that word. I don't need to have those conversations. And what are you doing now? I'm trying to explain something that's going on in the world. So that was going around. And then there was another this one is troubling. There was a clip from a show that he had done a few years ago where he talked about being on tour and he wanted to go see a movie. So he got in a cab and they took him to a movie theater, and it wasn't in a good part of town. And he said, we got out of that cab and it was like we stepped right into Planet of the Apes. Oh, that made me go, ooh. Oh, boy. That one's rough. Okay, so based on those things that were going around over the weekend, Joe Rogan cut another video where he's apologizing and, saying, look, I saw the videos and boy, do I regret those. And, being responsible, he's taking these head on. He's not like going, well, I didn't mean in context. I mean, he's taking his medicine, which, I applaud. I think, you may want to hold him down and force feed him more medicine. Okay, that's fine. That's you. But, just judging from this situation, he's at least handling it. He's saying, yeah, I did that stuff. I'm not proud of it. I'm sorry. Here's why. So I don't know. It's troubling. The Planet of the Apes thing was really troubling. So based on the back of that, the CEO of Spotify, Daniel Ek, wrote a note to staff because there is rumblings within Spotify, like the Netflix thing. Remember the Dave Chappelle Netflix thing where all the Netflix employees were like starting to go, okay, we got a problem here. Well, that's brewing at Spotify. The Spotify employees are starting to go, okay, we got a problem. So the CEO of Spotify wrote this: Spotify team, there are no words I can say to adequately convey how deeply sorry I am for the way the Joe Rogan Experience controversy continues to impact each of you. Not only are some of Joe Rogan's comments incredibly hurtful, I want to make clear that they do not represent the values of this company. I know this situation leaves many of you feeling drained, frustrated, and unheard. I think it's important you're aware that we've had conversations with Joe and his team about some of the content on his show, including his history of using some racially insensitive language. Following these discussions and his own reflections, he chose to remove a number of episodes from Spotify. He also issued his own apology over the weekend. That's the video that I told you about. So, now it's not just COVID misinformation, but now it's also that, it's, the racial stuff. Then we got into round 3. Then there was a clip of Joey Diaz, who is he's a shock comic. And The problem with this story is that Joey Diaz told a story about how when he was in charge of the lineup at a Los Angeles comedy club, any female comic who wanted to get on stage would have to orally pleasure him. And he's on Joe's show talking with Joe about how he made all of these girls do this, and he's got a list of the girls in case they ever become famous, all this stuff. And Joe was laughing. Ha 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 ha. So people are like, look at Joe. Joe is okay with that. And then Joey Diaz even goes on to say, I mentally broke a number of these girls. They quit the profession. They're not doing comedy now. They couldn't handle it. And he was almost bragging about it. And, in 2022, that's a rough one. But I don't know. The video looked like it was from years ago. Not that it's okay. No, it's not. I'm not saying that it was okay years ago for that. I'm just saying we were in a different place where people told terrible stories. I know Joey Diaz, and I can tell you flat out, Joey Diaz is a scary dude. Joey Diaz has a past. Joey Diaz may not be one of the great people of the world, but he's funny. He's a funny, look, not if it's your daughter. No, I get that. And maybe that's the place where we are now, where we're forced to look at these situations that maybe before we just laughed off as, oh man, that's crazy. I'm glad that didn't happen to anybody I know, but it sure is funny to hear the story. So that's going around too. So now there's that. Now there's the whole misogyny thing. So I don't know. This Joe Rogan story ain't going away, folks. It seems to be just building every day. And I don't know. And then we've got Andrew Yang and The Rock, who are both trending because both of them have reversed course. Andrew Yang sent out a tweet on Friday saying that Joe Rogan is not a racist. He has plenty of black friends. And then Andrew Yang took a whole bunch of heat for that, and he deleted it. He's like, oh, never mind, forget it. And then The Rock made a video supporting Dwayne Johnson, made a video supporting Joe Rogan. And this was, the coronavirus thing, First Amendment, you need to be able to speak and blah, blah, blah. I support you, Joe, blah, blah, blah. And then somebody sent The Rock all of the racial stuff. And then the Rock backtracked. He's like, oh, never mind. I got more information now. I didn't know about that. Disregard what I said. So that's why The Rock and Andrew Yang are trending as well. All right. Well, there you have it. That's pretty much everything that's trending today. Let's see what I've missed. Is there anything new? And again, folks, we do all these. There is so much more to say about that story, but that's not what this is about. This is about, here's what people are talking about. Here's basically it. I don't want to go into all that stuff. I have so many mixed feelings. Eric Andre is trending. I love Eric Andre. He's funny. I don't know why he's trending. Oh, he made a Frank's Red Hot commercial. Apparently, there's a Super Bowl commercials are now going to start trending. Lovey Smith is trending. That's awesome. We talked about that. Russell Brand is still trending. Ryan Clark is trending. Leslie Jones is still trending. Lids is still trending. All right. Yeah, it looks like nothing new. Razzies is still trending. There's nothing big. Bussin is trending. Hashtag Bussin. Bussin. And I stop on this. Nicki Minaj and Lil Baby's new single, Bussin', will be released this Friday. The reason I stop on Bussin' is because it seems to be my 12-year-old son's favorite word. Everything is bussin' in his world. How is that macaroni and cheese? It's bussin', yo. Is that a good thing? It is. It's a very good thing. It is a very good thing. Hey, look at that lady in the tight dress at the Speedway. What do you think of that? She bussin', yo. Okay. All right. You're an Irish kid from Plano, but okay. If that's how, that's fine. That's, Blazing Saddles is trending. I was going to mention this earlier. We don't have to. Blazing Saddles is trending because people are debating on Twitter, at least, Simple question, Blazing Saddles or Three Amigos? Blazing Saddles or Three Amigos? 48 years ago today, Blazing Saddles premiered in theaters. So the question, Blazing Saddles or Three Amigos? That's easy for me, because I think Blazing Saddles is super overrated. Three Amigos. I love Three Amigos. I am on team Three Amigos. All right, let's jump into the chat room. Let's see what we missed, what everybody's been talking about. I have been ignoring it, and I imagine there's going to be a whole lot of stuff. Byron points out the Colts went extinct 2 years ago. They really did. Rob Barr says, yeah, there's an Olympic athlete, Shaun White. I guess he's a Winter Olympic athlete. I said that I couldn't even name one. There you go. Aaron points out, I'm sorry. So that dude, he plays for Man City, not Manchester United. That I should have known that. I like Man City. Sort of. I don't know enough about Premier League soccer, football. I don't know enough about it, but I've adopted Man City because I watched a documentary about Man City from 5 years ago, and none of those players are probably still on the team. But I do like the coach. I like the coach. He was cool. So I apologize. It was Man City, and there's a big difference. Boy, oh boy, is there a big. Here's what I do know: big difference between Man City and Man U. That'd be like confusing a White Sox player for a Cubs player. Don't say that to someone from Chicago. Big difference. It's like confusing a New York Met for a New York Yankee. Big difference. Let's see here. What else was on this day in 2022? I got banned from Facebook for 30 days. Jeff Glenn said, "What are you getting banned from Facebook for?" Oh, I can imagine. Jeff likes to stir it up politically. Not me. We were talking about Ashton Kutcher and how he has a twin brother, and his twin brother has these incredible challenges, and Ashton Kutcher does not. Jennifer says, my cousin has twins, one completely healthy and the second with cerebral palsy. The healthy one has incredible amount of guilt and has been in therapy for years dealing with it. Yeah, that's what I wondered about. I mean, about Ashton Kutcher. Do you think Ashton Kutcher, because twins are that's a special thing. Twins have this bond. And I wonder if Ashton Kutcher has any real guilt. I would imagine you might have to, and certainly you could forgive the one with cerebral palsy every time he sees, his brother with Mila Kunis or whoever. He's like, how did this happen? How did my egg, when the egg got split and the twins were, how did mine why did I get the bad egg? Why did I get the bad split? Jeff Glenn agrees with me. We were talking about Eddie Izzard. It's Eddie Izzard's birthday. I talked about The Riches, which was a show that he did for a season, maybe 2 seasons on FX. I'm not sure. Him and Minnie Driver, so good. The Riches is such a good show. I re-binged The Riches last summer. I watched all of them again because I stumbled across it on Hulu, and I was like, oh, I remember I liked this show 10 years ago when it was on. Binged it straight through. Ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. Oh, also, I should mention this. I got a new show that I'm loving. Prime. Reacher. I don't know if isn't that like that's the Tom Cruise Jack Reacher movies? No. Yeah, but no. Yeah, but no. Tom Cruise, he plays this. Jack Reacher is a character in a series of crime mystery novels, and Tom Cruise plays Jack Reacher in the film series. I think there's been 2 now. There's plans for more, but Amazon Prime Video, they've made a series called Reacher, which is so good. And the Reacher movies, Jack Reacher movies are good. Isn't it? The movies are Jack Reacher. The series is Reacher. This guy, I don't know who the hell he is. Whoever this guy is that they got to play Reacher is so much better than Tom Cruise. Jack Reacher is supposed to be a monster of a dude. He's supposed to be 6'5", 320 pounds. He kicks major ass and he's built like a brick shithouse. And that ain't Tom Cruise. that ain't Tom Cruise. I'm sorry. So that's always been like the big complaint about the Tom Cruise Jack Reacher movies. This guy, I don't know who this guy is. I don't know where this dude came from that they got. I am 5 episodes into the first season. He is awesome. This guy who is playing Reacher is funny. He's awesome. And it's just a good show. It's just a really good show. If you like shows where like dudes beat people up in bars, because that's pretty much it. It's just like all these, like, I'm gonna kick your ass. It's just a whole bunch of kicking ass. And there's it's a small town and there's a bunch of murders and cartels are involved. It's crazy. It's crazy, It's one of those kind of deals. Here's how I describe this actor who I don't know who he is, but he plays Reacher. I say this. It's like if Putty from Seinfeld and John Cena were mashed into one person. That's the guy. That's him. It's Putty from Seinfeld and John Cena just combined into one person, and that's the actor playing Reacher. There's so much Putty about Reacher in the series that is so funny. Like even the look, like just, all right, so there you go. You want to watch something good. Tinder Swindler, very good, and Reacher. Yeah. Let's see here. Byron says, in Pulp Fiction days, one had to hide their gimps in a basement. Now they're walked on leashes through the farmer's market. That is true. That is absolutely true. Aaron, my buddy Aaron is trying to get me to get into Jack Grealish's calves. All right, I'll check that out. Does he have? I don't care. He's my favorite player now. And I'm so glad to learn that he plays on the team that I'm already oriented towards rooting for. Grealish. I'm probably saying that wrong. About Bill Martin, talking about the Trump coffee table book that's already made $20 million. Trump's cult will buy that book, give him something to read behind bars. Dude, not just him. I would buy that book. That book sounds funny. Just a whole bunch. Come on, I'd like to have that in 50 years. I won't be alive in 50 years. But, I'd like to have that and go, that guy was president. That's this guy who was putting out these shit tweets, talking mad smack about people. He was president. That's crazy. Albert, he says, I believe this is about the Rogan thing. He was using the word in context, much like Stern did. Here's the thing. If we're going to take down it, at what point do we start to look back at the stuff that Howard Stern did? Why are we all just... Because Howard Stern is very publicly, wear your mask, get your vaccine. He's very publicly on that side, Dr. Fauci and all that kind of stuff. He's definitely on the other side of the people, like Joe Rogan, who are questioning it all. So why is Howard Stern getting a pass? And I'm not saying that we should crucify any of these people. I'm saying it's a problem. That's why I'm sticking up for Rogan. Look, I wear my mask still. If there's a sign on the door that says put a mask on, I got one in my pocket. I'll put the damn mask on. That's fine. I'm getting a little tired of it, but whatever. Okay, I'll do it. I got my vaccine shots. I got my booster. I did everything that I was supposed to do, right? So, I'm not in with, the people who are going on Joe Rogan and going, they're putting microchips trackers in your genes, and this is actually gene therapy. This isn't a vaccine. Shut up. You dummy. You're a YouTube guy. I don't need to hear what YouTube guy has to say. But Howard Stern is on the other side. Howard Stern is like, get the vaccine, wear the mask, all that stuff. But we're giving him a pass. We're going like 10 years into Joe Rogan's past, and we're dragging all this stuff up. Why? Because it conveniently fits the narrative that we're trying to push. Well, that's disingenuous, man. If we're going to do that, we got to move. We got to be, if we are truly as offended, and by use the royal we, if we are truly as offended with all of these things that Joe Rogan is saying, the way we pretend to, then we better target Howard Stern. Hell, we better target Pugs and Kelly. We better target, everybody that was working in the in-your-face radio formats of that time. We should never, any of us, be allowed to ever do anything again, because you can find something that if you want to define us as one thing that we said back in 2005 as a joke and ruin our chance of doing anything, fine, go ahead. But I'm all for being even-handed about it. Where's the takedown of Howard? I mean, talk about high profile. He's being somehow given a pass. Joe Rogan isn't. Howard is. Because what? Because Howard is on the side of the vaccine? Okay, we're just going to overlook that. Howard Stern did some crazy racist stuff. Same with Jimmy Kimmel. This is what I don't get. Jimmy Kimmel's getting a pass on all of this stuff. Why? Do you remember the Man Show? Jimmy Kimmel did some pretty misogynistic things, and Jimmy Kimmel used to do running bits where he wore blackface. How come ABC, Disney isn't getting, slammed? It's just, man, the people who complain, and I'm not a fan of whataboutism, but the people who are defending Joe Rogan and are complaining about all the things that I just mentioned, they have a point. If you don't think they have a point, then you are not being intellectually consistent. You're just not. You're being dishonest. All of us are targets. So we either got to take everybody down or stop talking about how it's only fair, because it's not fair. It's not fair to just crucify one person and then let people like Howard Stern and Jimmy Kimmel and all those guys slide because they're on TV or on their shows talking about how you should get the vaccine. That is why I'm like, leave Joe Rogan alone. It's a can of worms. You don't want to open that can of worms. We just don't. I know you smell blood in the water, and I know that you really want to take somebody apart and you want to feel some kind of victory in this whole thing, but holy fuck, you better be aware that there are other people out there who are going to get taken down, and they might be people that you like. They might be people that you care about. Stop it. Everybody made mistakes. How about everybody gets a clean slate from right now, this point moving forward? From this point moving forward, let's stop dragging up stuff from people's pasts. I mean, unless they got away with murder or child molestation and stuff like that. But man, crazy times in the early 2000s. Crazy times. We have all changed. We've all evolved. We've all become different people. We've all become more aware of things and how they affect others. Uh-oh, Mr. Popular. I can't take this call. Guys, hold on. Give me a second here. All right, and we're back. I'm sorry about that, folks. That was my son's mom. I got to take certain calls. I got to take calls from my mom. I got to take calls from my kid, and I got to take calls from my kid's mom. All right, so where were we? Albert says cancel culture is going to really bring society down. We are not the same people that we were in the past. The problem with cancel culture is that knife cuts both ways, people. It's only the Fox News and the Trump people who are always canceling everybody. Really? You can say that with a straight face? I mean, I agree that it's both sides, but to pretend like it's only the liberals who want to cancel it. Really? You think it's just the liberals? Come on. Cancel culture is stupid. Whether you are liberal, whether you are conservative, whether you are progressive middle, whether you are right-leaning middle, whatever. It is stupid. It is dumb. It is for stupid people. So stop it. The cancel culture is way more on the right than it is on the left. Oh, no, it isn't. Oh, no, it isn't. Shut your mouth. You are dumb. Cancel culture is way more on the left than it is on the right. Oh, no, it isn't. Are you crazy? You're nuts. Yikes. It is equal. Blood in the water, people. Anybody, regardless of your ideology, regardless of your political leanings, when you smell blood in the water, woo, going for it. And cancel culture is the natural extension of the gotcha society. We used to call it gotcha. Oh, we got him. Ooh, watch. In this soundbite, I'm gonna ask a gotcha question, and they're gonna say something, and then we're gonna talk about how terrible they are for answering it that way. That's all. We've just moved into a whole nother stage of the gotcha. But Jeff Glenn points out that I just laughed at a GIMP joke 5 years ago. Well, okay, so define what a GIMP is. A GIMP, to me, is the actor who is playing that role, that sex slave role. I don't know I don't think that we can, people do that. People volunteer for that stuff. Why do you think it's a bad thing to be a GIMP? I think people should just do whatever they want. I think if people want to be a GIMP and live in a giant oak or cedar chest and only be brought out for sex and raping stuff, and if they're doing it by their own accord, that's fine. Although now that I think about it, I don't know that the GIMP was really into it. Although wasn't the GIMP also bad? Don't make me break down the motivations of the GIMP from Pulp Fiction. All I know is that if you need a rubber suit and a ball gag to enhance your overall sexual experience, more power to you. Just leave me out of it. Albert binged watched Reacher over the weekend. Great show. Yeah, it is a good show. It is a good show. I do. I really like it. And I really like the dude who plays Jack Reacher. All right. I think we're good. I think we are super good. Leslie says there's a butterfly refuge that is closed because of Q folks. Why? What? Well, man. Q folks... See, Q folks are like the super far extreme right, but they're not even. Q folks are just a combination of wildly dumb and probably mentally unstable. That's what the Q folks are. I wouldn't consider, like, I know people who are right wing. I know people who are conservative. I know people who are very, pro-America and MAGA, who know that the Q people are nuts. So you can't, there are so many variations of the wackiness on both the far right and the far left. Defining, Q as being mainstream, and it is not mainstream. It's just, we see it everywhere because it's so funny, because it's such, did you hear about this one? I mean, they're whack jobs. They're no different than the people who tried to burn down the police station in Minneapolis. Are you a progressive? Are you a liberal? Are you okay with that? Do you think that we ought to have no police? Because what? We can all be trusted to police ourselves? Come on. There is shithouse crazy on both sides, both extremes. And I just think we need to stop paying any attention to them. But I can't stop. I can't stop the Q people. I can't. I mean, I say that we should just ignore them, but I can't. They're so funny. I'll give you, that. Never mind. I was just gonna say, that at least, the far right crazy Q people, they don't seem that dangerous. But then I'm like, oh yeah, but wait, also Nazis. So I was gonna say, the people who are burning down the police stations and all that on the far extreme crazy left, they're more frightening and more of an immediate problem for America than the Q people. But then as I was thinking about the Q people, I went, oh yeah, Nazis too. Yeah, no, never mind. Never mind. They're both extremes are really bad. Really bad. We don't need none of that. All right. That's it. We got nothing else. I got nothing else. Pugs, there are a lot more Q folks than you realize. Yeah. Well, I mean, what do you think I realized? Do you think I think there's only like 5 of them? No, there's a lot of crazy people in if you are crazy and if you are an undiagnosed lunatic in this country, which they've been out around us all the time. They've never not been here. It's just they haven't had anything that brought them all together. And now there is something that has brought them all together. So we're finally going, holy shit, we really do have a mental health issue in this country. And so, for that, Q's doing us all a service. But don't for a minute, Jeff, try and convince me that the Q people are any kind of a voting bloc that could get somebody elected president. They can't. They can't. There's not that many. Trust me, this is a nation of 350 million people? Maybe there's 100,000 Q folks. And yeah, that's really all there are, like the hardcore ones. But that's a lot. That's a lot. Now, them voting in a block with, it's about the company you keep, right? So, if you're like a normal, if you're just sort of like an uptight, old school Republican right wing who was thrown in with Trump because, well, what the hell? I don't care about anything except making money and I want to keep my money. If you're that person, then yeah, you'll take the Q votes, but it doesn't mean that you want to go have dinner with the Q people. It's very complicated. And there are all different shades to this. Just like, people on the left, they don't want to actually hang out with the people who want to get rid of the police. But if they're going to vote for the same person, fine. Let's keep them stirred up. No one will ever convince me. I think you are wrong, Pugs, underestimating the numbers. No, I am not. I'm sorry, I'm not. There are a lot of people who are involved in Q who are not seriously involved in Q. There's a lot of people in it for the kicks and for the laughs. But there are crazy people. If you are a crazy person and you have been somehow politically ignited, then yeah, you're probably one of them Q people. But it's not that big of a deal. All right. Yeah, I think that you're needlessly afraid of what the Q people represent. I think they're maddeningly irritating with how oblivious they are to how stupid and ridiculous they sound. Hold on. But I don't really think we're going to have a Q president. No, there's no fucking way. And by the way, that's what they said about Trump. No. I knew that Trump could win. I knew that from the very beginning, I'm like, this guy's going to be a problem, especially after the first debate when he just started slamming everybody. I'm like, woo, people are going to like this. But even Trump isn't a Q guy. True, he stokes it and he wants them and he wants to keep the crazy people all, fiery about him because who does he think's going to take to the streets and start burning shit down in his name? Those people. So he's got to keep them close, but they're not important. Even people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lorena Bobbitt and all those people, they don't actually believe that shit. Oh shit, this isn't. They're just using it for their power base. There you go. All right. I got to get out of here. I got stuff to do. Okay. Yeah, Jeff Glenn, I'd say there's 100,000 no, there's not 100,000 Q people in Texas. There's not 100,000 Q people in America. Come on. It's ridiculous. That is, you are being a pearl clutcher. You sound crazy thinking there's that many. Okay, I got to return this phone call, so I apologize, but I gotta move out. Love you all. Thank you for being here. We'll be back at 9:00 tonight for the Radio Misfits podcast platform. Proudly presents Pugs and Parker's Pillow Pundits tonight at 9:00. All right, bye, folks.